Live from beautiful downtown Bastrop, it's time for the Stage Select, starring Julian Titus and Justin Ham.
What could this possibly be? Seems a lot like a podcast. Wonder what specifically. Talking about video games. With your hosts, you're in good hands. Not more of the same. Now we'll jump right in. So expect the unexpected and more. Now we'll get grooving. There we go, we're gonna walk through the door. There just might be some strategy in this. Just having fun with a special guest. Time for Stage Select.
And featuring Talkin. And here are your hosts, Julian Titus and Justin Ham.
Welcome, one and all, to the Stage Select. I'm Julian Titus.
I'm Justin Ham. Hello. I'm here. We did it. We're doing
Did it.
Yeah.
This is a video game variety podcast, and it is the first episode. And I am stoked. It feels like, well, for us, it has been a thing like half a year in the making.
Yeah, right?
It's been a long time.
Yeah.
And it's been a long time since we released our pilot episode where we kind of introduced ourselves. I don't want to rehash a lot of that, but I did think to start off this inaugural episode, we should let the listeners get to know us a little bit, since, you know, hopefully some brand new people will be checking out this show that didn't listen to Nerds Without Pants or This Is Video Games or Clickbait Update.
Right.
So, Justin, we are a video game podcast. Like that is
Right.
the focus of the show.
Yeah.
We're going to be a very dumb video game podcast with very dumb bits and shenanigans.
Okay.
But
If you say so.
you sound less than enthused about the bits and shenanigans.
No,
and it was literally your idea.
No, it's this is the bit. You go ahead.
Yes.
Anyway, what were you going to say?
You know, for the listeners, and maybe a little bit for myself, just like a little refresher, like, you know, what is your experience with video games, like going back, and some of your, you know, some of the stuff that you gravitate towards?
Well, I started playing video games when I was a boy, and I played a Nintendo because I got one for Christmas. And it was a good Nintendo. It lasted many years. You had to blow in the thing and it would make it work sometimes. I don't know how it worked, but it did. I don't know why that's how I chose to start that, but I did. No, I got really into video games around Final Fantasy VII time, like really into them. I always liked them before that, and I played like a little bit of everything. I had, you know, all the Nintendo systems, but like that was the one where I was like, yeah, this is, I'm gonna like video games a lot. I'm gonna play them now. And I guess that's I don't know, I play a little bit of everything now. But you know, I guess that's it. I don't know. I'm bad at origin stories. I'm good at talking about, does bigotry make chicken taste better? I don't know. It might. It's that's a debate I can have. Also, you know, I've been looking at Colonel Sanders and I'm like, man, that guy, he was probably a racist. Let's just be real. And that scares me that maybe
he was an old white man that called himself the Colonel.
Yeah, Julian. Yeah.
No. Yeah.
Do you and it concerns me that maybe hatred makes chicken taste better. It really concerns me. I don't like that thought. But I can't cook chicken. I can't do it. They could, and they were probably bad people. I don't know.
I never tried making fried chicken.
Nope.
I bake chicken all the time.
Well, didn't Kentucky Fried Chicken try to like make a roasted chicken at some point? Didn't they try that? It didn't go well.
Oh, yeah. I actually, it was their rotisserie chicken, and we used to get it all the time when I was a kid. And there was a time when I don't know what was going on, but we were having it for dinner.
Yeah.
And something about it, like I ended up like throwing up
That's a good
a
sign.
lot and could not look at Kentucky Fried Chicken for months.
See, that's because
after
the
that.
Colonel had been dead many years, and the hatred has gone from Kentucky Fried Chicken. So he wasn't there to make it taste good with his bullshit. You know,
Sure.
I'm making a lot of baseless claims about the Colonel, and you know, for all I know, he was fine. But I don't know. I just got my suspicions about that guy. But anyway, video games are good. They're good. I like them. I've played. I don't know, man. I've owned a lot of different video game stuff.
Yeah, what are some of your favorite, like all time favorites? Because I think that's
okay.
a big
That's
thing
what that's what we're asking. Okay. Final Fantasy VII is pretty up there. I wish I would have known. I would have prepared a list.
that wouldn't be fun.
Yeah, I mean, I spent the time that you and I had not podcasting playing a lot of Skyrim. I would consider that shit up there, even though it's not even the greatest game. It's just I like to make it into the greatest game. That's one. Oh, favorite games. Street Fighter. Big Street Fighter fan. Big Chun-Li fan. I have a Chun-Li t-shirt on right now. I had to check because I'm dumb. Yeah, I like a little bit of everything. I think those. I'm trying to think of other favorites I have. I have a lot of favorites, Julian. Just mention games and I'll be like, that's my favorite video game. I'm just going to say that about every video game now. It's my favorite one.
That's going to be
Yeah. It's my favorite one.
Yeah. It's just Kissed by the Baddest Bidder.
That's a good video game. That's my favorite one.
Yeah.
The girl gets like kidnapped by some dudes and she's all like, "Ooh, this is crazy. This is some real what's that weird Twilight fan fiction that got turned into a book that they made into a movie?
50 Shades.
50 Shades of Grey. Thank you. This is some real 50 Shades of Grey shenanigans going on here, and people are buying me in auctions, and it seems wrong, but I get to kiss them, so it's fine. Yeah.
Snow Days, the music of winter.
That's my favorite video game as well.
Got it on tape.
Yeah, it's my favorite video game. There's the kid.
Painful for you to say that.
It was that one hurt a little bit, you know.
Yeah,
that one hurt a little bit. Yeah, you know, they released the end of the trilogy of what's the other one? Escape Dungeon. That's like a trilogy. They released a new one.
I did see that there was a third one. It came up in my Steam.
They just keep putting them out. Yeah. Queen Ellie's saving the world and traveling through time with her orgasms. What are you gonna do?
Yeah,
let's be done.
For the new listeners who seem bewildered, Justin is an asexual man who derives a lot of enjoyment from playing porn games because he finds them hilarious.
They're funny as shit.
That's the entire purpose of his other podcast. This is Video Games, which
I
have been binge listening to recently because I missed Justin. It's been a long time since we've done stuff, right? We've done stuff for patrons and stuff like that, but it's been a long time, and I've been super excited about getting the show rolling. So like, I've just been like, man, I miss talking to Justin every week.
Yeah, Julian keeps quoting things, and I'm like, I probably did say that. I don't. If you're new to this show, I forget a lot of stuff that I say all the time. I don't remember it.
It's even better when the quote is from a show from 3 years ago. That's
I definitely don't remember that. I barely remember last week. Whole thing.
Well, before we get over to me, like I should say, you know, just so you've already heard our incredible theme song by Megan McDuffie, who she's best known for the River City Girls soundtracks, but she's becoming very prolific in the video game soundtrack space, and we adore her.
Indeed.
She did our music for our old show, and when we started the new show, we were both in agreement that even if her prices had gone up, like, we needed to have Megan McDuffie on the show, and
for sure
she knocked it out of the park with the theme song, but also for our interstitials, which you'll hear throughout every episode. What I told her was, I just want you to have fun with these. I want you to, imagine what if Megan McDuffie did, 1 minute of Megan McDuffie, 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 1 minute of a Mega Man Stage Select song,
Yeah.
the soundtrack to Mass Effect, the soundtrack to Skyrim, or a Final Fantasy battle theme, because those are four types of games that we talk about a lot. Mega Man, not specifically, but Capcom very specifically.
Yeah.
So I feel that like those four things were very evocative of what we do a lot.
Yeah,
and perfect ones to choose.
Yes, absolutely.
For my part, I'm fairly similar. I started, I got fascinated with video games at a very young age, like with the arcades. Like I have like dim recollections of like going to an arcade with my dad and him like kind of lifting me up to the joystick and stuff like that. Like, and I'm sure it was one of those things where like I wasn't actually playing, right? It was just like the attractor or whatever.
I had a very similar thing for me. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And they have always been like a source of fascination for me, like ever since I first saw them. You know, I played on a cousin's like Atari 2600 when I was very little, and then eventually they got the Nintendo. I didn't have my first system for quite a while. Funny story is that my aunt and uncle bought my cousin David his Nintendo because I talked about it so much that they thought that I had one, and they they felt bad for him not having one. And my parents were like, "No, he doesn't have one." But I would get my parents to buy me magazines, like, you know, anytime we went to the grocery store. And so I would just read about video games voraciously.
Yep.
Which also fed into me eventually wanting to write about video games. And so I definitely did some of that. Like I in high school, I did my own PlayStation fanzine.
Yeah.
Where I would like rent games and review them. I had like an editorial page, and I had a tips and tricks page and a rumors section, and it was fun. I still have a couple issues of those kicking around.
I have a memory of I used to take my video game magazines into school all the time, and I have a memory of trying to draw Bubsy 3D.
You probably did a better job than the 3D artists of Bubsy 3D.
Yeah, I didn't know that it was a bad game. I never played it before. I didn't have a PlayStation, but it was cool looking because it was in 3D. And it was very early in the 3D days, and I was like, "This is cool. I should try to draw it." And I tried, but I have a very, very, very firm memory of doing that in the 4th grade. I even remember what grade I was in. Yep.
I remember freshman year of high school, they gave us like a little like a calendar book, you know, to like plan stuff and everything. And I remembered drawing like a little Mortal Kombat character on like every like day leading up to the Super Nintendo release of Mortal Kombat 2 because I was so excited.
Right. Yep.
I remember asking my mom to like go on her lunch break to Best Buy to pick it up for me.
Hell yeah.
Because back then it was like rare for you to know the actual date when a game was coming out, but this was like a very big, you know, marketing day. I think it was like Mortal Kombat Tuesday, or am I confusing that with Sonic Tuesday?
Yeah,
Forget now. There's Mortal Monday, but that was for the first game.
Right.
I think Mortal Kombat 2 came out on a Tuesday because of that. I think they did the Sonic thing.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. I could be getting those two mixed up. Yeah, and so for me, like the big game, like the one that like ended up cementing video games for me was Final Fantasy IV. It would have been 2 on the Super Nintendo. Like that was the one where, like, I didn't realize it at the time, but playing it, that was the moment where video games were becoming more important to me than just like a toy,
right?
Because it was speaking to me on a deeper level than I was actually cognizant of. And Final Fantasy remains my favorite franchise. Like when I got my first and only tattoo so far, it's a Final Fantasy tattoo.
Yep. I have a tattoo of the girl from Oni-Chanbara on my arm.
A game that you'd never played.
Yeah, a game I've never played. I love. It's great. Yeah. It's my favorite. It's my favorite aspect of the entire thing. It's great. And just to confirm one thing, Mortal Kombat 2 was Mortal Tuesday. You were
it was.
Correct.
Thank you.
No problem.
Yeah, and I worked at an indie video game store for like 8 years, which is really like, that's where the bulk of like a lot of my like video game history and knowledge comes from, because for 8 years I was playing the big new releases weekly, right? Because like I got into this cycle where a game would come out on a Tuesday. I would trade in my old games for it, play and get my discount.
Yep.
Buy that, play it, finish it in a week or two, trade it in for the next one, and just kept on going like that for years. And of course, being, at a store like that, picked up either new or used consoles that came out throughout that entire time, with the exception of the original Xbox. That's like the only thing that I never ended up actually buying for myself, because I think I like borrowed a used system, for like a long weekend or something to play a bunch of Xbox games. But that, so that's where like a bulk of like my deep knowledge of video games comes from. And since then, I've always been like fascinated with like the business side and the history of games. So I've always kept up on that. And like we said in the pilot, like both of us, we don't have gaps. Like we haven't, there's never been a moment when either of us were like, I'm done playing video games, right?
Yeah.
And put it down.
Really. Yeah.
Because of my job, I kept up with Bleeding Edge for that entire time, and then just kept doing that afterwards.
Even like slower periods for me were still like I was still keeping up on what was coming out and playing it a lot. And I mean, I might have been playing a lot more Magic the Gathering at that point, but still, like,
yeah. We don't have like a generational gap, right? There's not like a system that we skipped or anything like that, or system generation.
No.
And then, once I started hosting Nerds Without Pants back in 2012, there was another reason to stay Bleeding Edge. Not that show and nor this show are ever going to be like, well, we have to play the newest, greatest thing all the time.
Yeah.
But when you do a podcast about video games, you kind of want to play the new stuff so that you have something new to talk about.
For sure.
And one thing also is that my co-host Justin Ham is a Time Lord.
Apparently.
And so for me, I'm constantly trying to catch up.
I mean, you're ahead of me right now. So
I am.
Yeah.
For the first time. It feels good, Justin.
Yeah.
I'm
I'm happy for you. I'm content with letting you have it. It's great. I feel good letting you do that.
I feel weird though, because like I was geared up to come into this show to talk about Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth with you, because I was like, okay, by now, because it's been a couple weeks since we recorded our Game of the Year episode, which will be the next episode that airs. And I was like, okay, he said he was probably going to start it up after that episode. So like he should be like a good 20, 30 hours in so we can really talk about this game. And you were like, no, I haven't even touched it.
I'm kind of saving it. I don't know why. I just decided, I was like, you know what? At some point this year, something I'm looking forward to is going to come out and disappoint me wildly. I know it's going to happen. It always does. And I was like, you know what? I should save this game. I probably will get bored at some point and just be like, okay, it's time to play this game. But but it's been nice. I played other stuff, which was fun. So.
Yeah. So what have you been getting up to? Because like I said, like we have had conversations on like for Patreon episodes, and I'm not saying that as a like pitch for our Patreon. Yeah. I'm just saying it to say that like we're not going to rehash those conversations.
No, if you want to hear about Skyrim modding, go join the Patreon. That's
right. And and also we got out a little bit of like some of our like hiatus game talk in the Game of the Year episode. So, other than that, it's like all I know is that you were heavily into modding Skyrim, and I know nothing else about what you've been up to.
That's about it. No, in the past, after the Game of the Year episode, I was like, I'm gonna start Yakuza up. I'm gonna do it. And then it came time, and I was like, I'm kind of tired today. I'm gonna actually just lay around and watch stuff. And I did. And then I laid around and watched stuff, and an ad for Tekken 8 came on. And I was like, I don't know why, but that sounds really fun to me. It just sounds dumb enough to where I can get into it. So the next day I went and I bought it and I downloaded it and I started playing it. Tekken 8, it's a video game. It came out and it's fine. it's fine. It's pretty decent. I've played every Tekken. Like I'm trying to think of one I haven't played. I'm pretty sure I've played every Tekken. Yeah, the only one maybe I don't have a firm memory of is maybe like Tekken Tag Tournament 2. I don't even remember what that came out on. Was that like a 360 joint? It might have been. Doesn't matter.
I think so.
I think
that is probably I checked out of Tekken. Like, the last one that I played hot and heavy was 3.
Yeah.
And I dabbled with Tekken Tag Tournament because, it was a PlayStation 2 launch game.
Yeah.
And then I fell off.
Yeah. That's acceptable. I kind of have my ups and downs with the series for the most part, but I always kind of I played all of them. I maybe some more than others. 3 definitely. I played the shit out of 3 when that was a thing.
I know that I have missed out on. At a certain point, they got super crazy with their story stuff.
Yes,
and I've missed all of that.
Yeah. I mean, they did it, but they kind of always have been. It's just like it's actually like a story you can follow now a little bit. I have to give them credit because it always used to be like, okay, you play through arcade mode with a character and then you get an ending and you're always kind of like, I'm not sure if this is the canon ending or who is actually supposed to be doing what, and they don't have like this is the story of Tekken type of thing until like you play the next game and then the intro is like, this person won. And you're like, oh, okay. All right. Got it. That's what happened. Now they have like a story mode, like 7 had a story mode. And I vaguely remember, I remember getting like really like batshit stupid in the end, and I was kind of here for it because like I think you like fight Akuma and shit. It's wild. Yeah. This one it also has a story mode, and that was the first thing I played through. I was like, all right, let's go play through the story mode because the thing is like they have like character customization and stuff in there, and I'm into that stuff. But it's not. I'll get more into that later. But they give you I remember from 7 that if you beat the story mode, you get a bunch of money for it to buy the stuff in that mode. And I was like, okay, well, let's go get some money and we'll beat the story mode. And I played through it and it was fine. Again, it's fun to see like how much they lean into how stupid it is sometimes. I really appreciate that. It's kind of there's a moment in that game where they go full Tekken Force, almost beat 'em up Tekken style thing where you're fighting a bunch of dudes. And this was the first. Normally those modes, and they've been in a couple of them, a lot of them, and they're usually a mess. They're usually a fucking this works kind of, but it's not very good. And you're kind of just getting hit by things that you don't think you should because it's just not a game that was built around that stuff. And this one, when they do that part, and it's only one part, I was like, oh, this is maybe the best you've ever done with this. This is actually pretty good. I was like, good job, guys. Good. This is excellent. It's pretty good. It was fun. Maybe not as over the top and batshit crazy as 7's was, but still over the top and batshit crazy. My favorite character in the entire game and probably the entire franchise now is the new character Reina.
I knew it.
She's great.
I could. As soon as I saw her, I knew
she's
it.
Awesome. Oh, I love her so much. Her whole thing is she's basically Heihachi, but a teenage girl, and I'm like, this is the best shit ever. I love this so much. Because she basically plays he used to play the old man card sometimes, and she just plays the I'm an innocent teenage girl card a lot, but is super not. It's awesome. Oh man, she's phenomenal. I realized through that character that I have a favorite bad guy pose, and it is the look over your shoulder from leaning, tilting your head backwards pose. I don't know how to describe it, but it's awesome. I'm like, oh, this is so good.
The Vegeta.
Yeah, kind of. Yes, that is kind of that. It's great. It's a great pose. She's also the character that I like vibed with, like just like moves wise, because I always liked Heihachi. Like he was a favorite of mine. She's not like 1-to-1 or anything. She's kind of her own.
No, I
mix.
wouldn't expect her to be.
Yeah, she's her own mix, but like some of the basics that Heihachi had are still there, which is cool. I am missing my favorite character to play with, which is Julia Chong. She's gone, or she'll probably be DLC or something. But I miss her. She does little suplexes and wears a little headdress. It's funny. But yeah, overall it's pretty good. The story mode, and then character customization is the same as Seven's was, which is kind of a bummer. It's the same as Seven's was. There's like there's some new shirts maybe. That's about it. Like really, it's nothing to write home about. Like all the hairstyles are the same. I was kind of bummed in.
I've seen people do some really crazy shit on Twitter, like, dressing up the characters. But I think for me, I'm like, okay, you can go that far, but why not? Like, I would rather just give me a create a character thing, like Soul Calibur.
Yeah, well,
like, because at the end of the day, it's like, but this is still Jin, right? Like,
yeah, that's what I mean. Like, and I'm fine with what they go with, but I don't think they go far enough. Like, there's certain things that I'm like, okay, this wouldn't affect. I know why they're afraid of the character creation thing that Soul Calibur has, because that gets zany. And in good ways and bad, right? If you're trying to make like a competitive fighter, that it can go a little weird, because like you can have, somebody just makes a giant box and now that's the character and you don't know where the hitbox is and shit like that. Like, so they're trying to be careful of like, breaking it, I guess. And
yeah, I guess whenever I think of Soul Calibur's create mode, I think of Soul Calibur 4 because that's the one that I played the most.
Right.
And on that one, you couldn't like change the proportions.
Right.
You could choose from body types.
Yes.
But you couldn't actually like do crazy shit like make a super
and they could absolutely they could do that, but I guess they just don't. It is easier to do what they did, but my thing is like I don't know. It's tough to explain. Like you can't just change like eye color in that game. Like might, if you can, I don't know how to do it. And if you know how out there and you're just like, oh, the guy's stupid, you should then tell me how, because I don't know. I know there's like set eyes and they have different colors, but like there's no, like you can't just make like, you can't have green eyes or anything. Like you can't do it. And that's weird to me. Like I'm just like, that seems like such a simple thing. Like hairstyles, like there's only like so many of them and they're all the same for every character, and that's fine, but like you can't really go too far into that. There's very few, like, I don't know, there's only so many combinations of things you can do. There's only like 2 accessories you can put on, which I get. They don't want you going super crazy with that because that can get, out of control. I get it. But at the same time, it's just like, I don't know. It's just, it doesn't really click as well as I feel like it should,
Does it feel like it's that way because they're going to be selling a whole bunch of accessories and hairstyles after the fact?
Yeah, maybe. That could be what they're going for. But I expected that from 7, and it didn't happen that way. Mm. Because I remember like going back to 7 like years later and being like, oh, this I bet there's a ton of stuff now, and I'll look into it, because why not? I would like to have a bunch of stuff. I'm the asshole that will pay money sometimes for things like that because I just want to make a cool looking thing.
Especially if you come to it like years later when it's probably cheaper, right?
And I bought I think I bought the version of it that was like, hey, here's everything, all the DLC and everything we put out for this for a lot cheaper, now, because it's been out for years. And that was, like I said, that was me coming back to it. I played it when it came out, 7, but I kind of bounced off of it pretty quick. But anyway, it never really got to that point in 7. at all, at least that I could see. Like it didn't seem like there was too much, and this one's kind of the same. Like it, and maybe they do plan on adding a ton of stuff and that's where their focus is this time. I don't know. Hard to say, but right now it's kind of like, you can make your character look different, and that's cool, but like not crazy different or anything like that. But the one mode that I have to say I was kind of impressed by is that arcade mode. I don't remember what the mode is. The arcade like story mode thing, where you're like you get a little character avatar, and your character's real into Tekken, and you go and you hang out in an arcade, and everybody there's real into Tekken, and you're all gonna play some Tekken, and you're gonna get good at it. Or maybe you won't, I don't know, but you're going to have fun because that's what it's about. And I was like actually pretty impressed by that mode, more so than I thought, because I started up, I was like, oh my God, this is going to be dumb as shit, isn't it? And then I started playing, I was like, oh, I'm actually learning some stuff. Like, this is kind of cool. Yeah. Like they had like some neat that like, they're like, you'd get to like a new arcade and it was like, okay, these motherfuckers be blocking. And you're like, and I'm like, all right. And they're like, you're going to have to throw them. And I'm like, I know how to throw them. I know how to throw in Tekken. I know how to do that. I played these games before, but it's all right. Let's learn about throwing. Why not? That shit makes me laugh. But then again, there was other stuff. It's like, hey, here's like an air juggle combo that your character can do. And it was all character specific because I was playing as like Reina, and then like it was teaching me stuff about that character and like moves that I didn't know, and because I was kind of new to them. So it was fun to learn that stuff. That mode is pretty cool. I have to say it's pretty neat.
I'm glad that we're finally getting to this point with fighting games where they are actively trying to make these games more welcoming to new players or rusty players, right? And that sounds, from what you're saying, and also from what I've seen on reviews, it sounds like it splits the difference between the Street Fighter 6 World Tour mode and, more importantly, the arcade roaming mode from Virtua Fighter 4 Evolution on PS2, which was like, I learned Virtua Fighter I learned a lot of Virtua Fighter because of that game, because what you would do, and I think it sounds like that's what it is here, you would go from arcade to arcade and challenge players. And all of the AI in the arcades that you would go to in Virtua Fighter 4 were actually modeled after real players. Right. And so you would start with like very basic, beginner players, and you would go up and you would start playing tougher players. And also it had that ranking up where it would go like from like first Dan to second Dan and all that stuff.
This has a similar thing.
Yeah. And so they would rank up as you would rank up as well. So the game was actually learning you as you were learning it. So it would start to adapt to your tips or your tricks and stuff like that.
Pretty similar here. Yeah. Like, this one, like, I'm a little unfamiliar with that mode in Virtua Fighter. I don't know if I played that one. It's very possible I didn't. That was 4 that had that?
4.
I don't remember if I played 4 or not. It doesn't matter. What you're describing sounds pretty much like this. This one has like, they'll have like a dumb little story in each one that you go to. Like, I don't know, this guy's real mad that you're here, but now you beat him and now you're friends. So good job. It is what it is. But the AI thing, I'm not sure if like the guys in the arcades are modeled after anybody, but there is a separate mode that is pretty much connected to that one in a way, where it's called like Super Ghost Battle, and those are like, I believe like a bunch of them are like the developers, like, and how they play. You can train a ghost, like what they call like a ghost, to like, it's basically just your AI that learns what you do. And so like some are modeled after developers, some of them are modeled after like real players and stuff like that. At least I think they are. You can download other people's ghosts too. So like if you played it and trained a ghost, like yours would play like how you play, and like you can also play against yourself, which is fascinating because it's funny watching my AI trained ghost or whatever making all the same dumb mistakes that I do all the time, where I press the wrong buttons, and I'm like, oh yeah, well, guess I'm just gonna own myself here,
right?
Which is hilarious.
But that's cool because then you can see it from the other side, right?
You see it from the other side. It's kind of.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, I really need to stop doing that, like all the time.
Yeah. I saw something that was both heartbreaking and heartwarming on Twitter today.
Yeah.
I think someone had posted in Reddit, and basically the story was that like his younger brother like died all of a sudden, like suddenly. And he was a big Tekken fan, and they had been playing Tekken 8, and he had been training his ghost and stuff like that. Yeah. And his question was basically came down to, can I still play against my brother's ghost if the servers go down?
Right.
And Harada himself actually like found this, and he tweeted with the story, and he said, if you download your brother's ghost to your local machine, it'll still be there even if the servers go down. Yeah. And then he said like, hey, look, I've also like sent like condolence cards to fans before. Yeah. If that's something that could help in any way, like tell him to get in touch with me.
Awesome.
And I was like, man, that dude sounds all right.
Yeah.
Like I've seen him, kind of here and there, and like he seems like a pretty cool dude.
Yeah. Harada has his ups and downs. That's it. As a person, he definitely sounds great. As somebody who hates the internet, maybe sometimes not so much.
Spoiler alert, a Japanese developer doesn't really understand like how like the internet can be used to your advantage for video games.
That's about right.
I will say, I like what you're saying, and I've liked what I've heard about Tekken 8 as far as like for like learning the game and stuff like that, and also Street Fighter 6 was excellent for that. It's still not quite where I want it to be. I don't know if I had said this when we were talking about Street Fighter 6 on Nerds Without Pants, but like I wish that they had taken all of the budget and engineering expertise that went into their announcer mode and instead used that as a coach mode. Like I would love to be playing Street Fighter like in training mode or something like that, and like a person says like, hey, I noticed that you're doing this. Like, consider doing this instead,
right?
Or blah blah blah, or like your timing is off here. Try doing this, right? And I think we're on the cusp of being able to do that.
We're getting like close,
updated AI, but then also like integrating voice into it and stuff like that. Like that's what I've been wanting for years. Yeah. Like I think I was even saying like back when like Street Fighter 4 came out, that I wish that like instead of like, because Street Fighter 4 is terrible at this, where you would have like the challenge rooms where you would do these combos, but it would just give you the moves.
Yes.
And you couldn't even look at a example, right? To know the timing. It's so frustrating. Like six, you can actually see it demonstrated, and that's great.
Tekken, but now I will say this: they're not quite to that level yet, but they're when they were teaching me like an air juggle combo, and I was like, okay, this is gonna take my brain a second because I've never been good at combos in anything. I'm awful at them. It was like a tutorial type thing, and at one point they were like, you're off timing right here, and I was like, oh, okay, yeah, all right, and I kind of figured it out from that, and even at one point, like they were like kind of encouraging when they were like, okay, you're almost there, you just need to land the last part, you got this part down. I was like, all right, yeah, you're right, I do have that part down, but I just got to get this part. So they're almost there, they're getting there with that, but they're not quite there yet. The other thing I miss, and this actually relates to practice mode, I used to learn Tekken and Soul Calibur alike, like the Namco fighters, by going to practice mode, and they used to have just command training, where it was just like, here's every move, and we're just gonna keep giving them to you. You do them once, and then we're gonna move on. Like I would learn like, oh, that's how I do that, and like learn certain things, and like learn how to chain things. There's certain things with Zhao Yu that I'll never forget how to chain them, because like I figured it out myself. It's not even a combo that registers at all, but it works. and stuff like that. But I learned a lot of commands through that mode, and it wasn't in 7 either, if I remember right, or Soul Calibur 6. I can't remember now. But I learned so many, like, just like, oh, that's how I do this. This does this. And I can't, if there's a way to do that now, I can't figure it out. Which irritates me.
I remember, was it Dead or Alive 3 that came out on the 360 early on?
Yes.
Okay, because I bought that one, and it definitely had that in there.
Yeah.
Where you just go through, like, move by move.
Yeah, and it's, it's very basic training, right? Like, I get why, like, there's a lot of people will not notice that that's not there. But, like, that's how I, like, learn if I like a character. Sometimes I'm going through, I'm like, I don't like any of this character's movesets. I'm going through their moveset, like, I just can't, I'm sure they do some cool shit, or, like, they're, like, I'll figure out sometimes, I'm like, this is a little bit over my head. I think I'm gonna try somebody a little different from here. And I would kind of pick and choose as I went through every character's command training like that. But that's kind of absent now, which I miss. I wish that would come back. I don't feel like it's too big of an ask. You can do the thing where you go into the move list and then, like, put the command up there, but it won't keep going through to the next one and all that stuff, which is a bummer. And again, I'm very bad at combos. I'm terrible at them. But yeah, it's overall though, like, pretty good. Like, I played it longer than I thought I would. And that's Tekken 8. Really, that's really all I have to say about it. Not bad. Wish Julia Chong was there.
I'm sure at some point, right? Like,
fighting games always bum me out in that aspect, where, like, you find a character that you kind of like, and then, like, they're not in the next one or something.
Yeah, it's a weird thing.
It's a weird
because they usually end up in there eventually, right? Especially with DLC.
Yeah,
like, I feel like Street Fighter V by the end of it, like, had damn near everybody. In it, right? And like, I've heard people, like, belly aching about Ed being added to Street Fighter 6. They're like, well, that means that Dudley's not going to ever be there. And I'm like, I mean, it doesn't necessarily mean that. Like, you can have more than one boxer. My thing is that I kind of prefer to see new characters. I get kind of bummed if a fighting game comes out and it only has one or two new characters.
I think there should be new characters, absolutely. But like, but it also is like a thing where it's like, but I would like to still pick my favorites though. I love, like, the updated, like, look of a character sometimes. Like, if you change a character, but, like, they have this character's moveset. Like, I love that idea. Like, where it's just like if they ever do the Chun-Li switch over, where it's just like, okay, Chun-Li's older now and she's retired, and now we have the I forgot her name already.
Li Fei, I think.
Li Fei, yeah. We have her there, and she's taken over. And I'm like,
and
cool.
I already love her as a character,
she's
so, like,
great.
I'm totally down.
Yeah, she was awesome. So yeah, I'm down too. That would be that sort of switch is awesome to me. Like, do that. That's totally cool. I mean, they do that in Tekken a lot. Like, Julia Chong was one of those. Because they actually have drastically aged their characters up over the games, which is funny, because then I heard that, like, the actual, like, length of time, like, if you look at the timeline, that it actually hasn't been that long, because like, there's certain, like, Tekken tournaments that took place within, like, 2 years of each other, or something like that, but it's like 4 games. But at the same time, it's like, but Paul looks rough now. Paul
right?
looks
like,
old.
And,
he's an old guy.
And I like that.
I do too.
I think it's neat.
Tekken's neat. I like Tekken. That's about all I have to say about Tekken. It's pretty decent. I feel like if you're on the fence about Tekken, I don't know if I'm gonna sell you on it or not. Like, it's a fighting game.
I will say that it leans into its anime bullshit, like, to a degree at this point that
it's
few fighting games do.
Very over the top and in some fun ways.
If you like your anime,
in some very fun ways, it's something else. And like I said, Reina is by leaps and bounds one of my favorite characters in Tekken of all time. Like, maybe she's like, the more I was playing with her, the more I was like, I really like this character. They're really cool. Yeah, they're great.
And now, a word from our sponsors.
Hey y'all, I'm Gary Grub Thumper, formerly of Gary and Larry's Premium Alpaca Outlet. Come on down to Gary's Discount Llamas. We got tall llamas. We got short llamas. We've even got teacup llamas that go great in a stylish handbag. Remember, at Gary's Discount Llamas, you're family. And don't shop at my brother Larry's place. His llamas have scurvy.
The other game I played, Julian, I wrote down the name of because I was telling you before this, I keep forgetting it. And Julian was like, well, that's a bad sign. And I was like, no, it's because I just get lost in the game and I don't look at what the fuck it's called. And it is a game called Balatro. Have you heard of Balatro?
I have heard that name.
Okay. All right. For those unaffiliated, Balatro is spelled Balatro. Just in case that's because it's a weird word. I don't know what it means. All right. Julian, if I know you like I know you, I feel like you are looking it up right now. And I want you, when you do, to tell me what you think that game is. Because I'm fascinated by what you think it is.
Well, okay, sorry. Because you know, YouTube is YouTube, and I'm looking at images.
Yeah.
I saw Let's Try Balatro Poker Roguelike.
Okay, all right.
So,
well, it's a poker roguelike. Like, yes, it is a poker roguelike. I would describe it as such. I would describe it as video poker on steroids. And
I don't know how to play poker.
Okay, well, here's the thing, Julian. Do you know poker hands at all? Just any poker hands?
I can name a couple of them, but I don't know like what they are. Like, I don't know what cards they are.
The good news is, if you were interested in trying this game, they do have a nice little list, just in a menu that you can look at.
Oh, okay.
So it's not too hard. And I would say this: if you're unfamiliar with poker but want to know anything about it, this actually might be a good way to learn just poker hands. Period. Because all you're doing is just making poker hands. That's it. It's all you're doing, and it's a roguelite game, and it is a deck builder. You are basically just, there's 52 cards in a playing card deck. That's what you start off with your basic playing card deck, and then you're like, hey, what if you made all of these cards diamonds? Hey, what if you just changed a bunch of these and now they're all kings and shit like that? You start slowly stacking the deck as you go along. The gameplay itself is basically like, the idea is, okay, you're making these poker hands. You have a score to beat every single time, and it keeps going up. Like you have X amount of hands to beat that score. So, okay, you get to the first thing, which they call the small blind, and you go in, and it's like, okay, you got to score 300 points in 4 hands. Okay, so you have so many discards, and then you can draw that many cards, and so you're sitting there trying to like get the best hand that you can, and you put it on there, and it goes, all right, this is worth this many points, and then it goes to the next hand, and you draws all the cards that you played, and you just keep doing this over and over again, and it is addicting as shit. It is addicting as shit. I keep going like I looked at that game, and it was like, because it kept showing up on the Steam front page, and I was like, what the fuck is this? It's just playing cards. What is happening? Like, there's all this weird, like, there's foils and all this stuff. I'm like, what is going on here? And slowly I was like, I don't know about that. Maybe someday if I hear about it. And then slowly I just kept looking. I was like, I want to know what this is. I don't give a shit. I'm just going to buy it. If anything, it'll be something to talk about on today. And then I bought it. And at first I was like, what am I doing? Like, okay, I know how to play poker. All right. Make poker hands. Okay. That's easy enough. And it starts out like pretty simple. And then slowly as I'm going, I'm like, oh, I could do, okay. Like, it has that like deck builder quality where you start putting like things together and like little combinations of shit. And you're like, oh yeah. And like, you get that feeling of like, oh, this isn't coming together at all. This is going to go bad. And then it does. And you're like, okay, start over, and it works. I don't know what madman thought of this game, but it's pretty good. I have to say.
So, because I just looked at some screenshots, I didn't see anything in motion.
Yes,
but presentationally, is there an aspect of it that kind of gives you the same like good feeling juices that opening up a box in Vampire Survivors does? Because that's the vibe that I'm getting from the screenshots.
It's not, maybe not quite on that level, but it's still good. Let me put it like that. It's still good. They have where the game starts to get kind of like zany and in good ways is okay. Like they have little like booster packs that you open that you have to pay. Like you earn like chips and with money, and that's what you're using to buy upgrades. And like you're buying new cards, and some of them are foiled or have these stamps, and they all have like your 3 of diamonds might be made of glass and have like a foil aspect or something like that adds some sort of crazy multiplier. But if you play it, it'll break. And sometimes you're like, yeah, I'm fine with that breaking because now I have one less card in my deck and shit like that. Like you're all this stuff, like all these multipliers.
Right.
On top of that, there are also the tarot cards that packs that you can open. And those are like, they're like consumables, but they add like permanent upgrades. So you'll get like something that's like, hey, turn 3 cards into all hearts, or turn 3 cards into all clubs, or turn 1 card into copy another card into this card or something like that. And little things like that like you really start to like put your deck together that way. And then there's spectral cards, which are just fucking nuts. And then there are planet cards, which is like, okay, every time you get 2 pair, right, it now gives you more points. You've leveled up 2 pair.
Mm-hmm.
Good. Awesome. I built I have gotten through a whole run of it. Twice now. I beat it just before we started. Actually, I got through a run. I was pretty proud of it. I don't know how I did it. Actually, it was kind of crazy. But my favorite run that I've had so far was I built the 2 pair deck. That's what I called it. It's all I needed to get was 2 pair every fucking hand. That's all I built everything around it to where I was just like, I am going to get insane amounts of points just getting 2 pair. And and I did that. I just kept doing it because it would hit so consistently for you, because 2 pairs is a pretty common poker hand for the most part. You don't really got to work for it that hard. And it was busted. Like, it was awesome. Like, it was really fun to do that. I put one together earlier, and this was heartbreaking because I didn't win the run. I was like, oh, this deck is absolutely broken. What I did was I was like, okay, I got some sort of like there's also these Joker cards, which are like permanent little boosts that have different abilities and stuff. That they're like, okay, one will be like, hey, every time you play an even numbered card in your hand, it will add a multiplier to your score. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
So like, I had that, and I had one that was like, okay, every time you play a heart, it will add a multiplier to the score. Well, that's really good. What if I had all hearts in my deck and I just did that? So I built that. I started working towards it, and it started coming together really, really good. And I was like, it felt busted. Like I was just like, all I need to do is play hearts, and everything I play is hearts. They have like poker hands that don't exist. Like you can't get what they call a full flush. Or what is it? A flush house? A flush house. That's what it is. Like it's basically like a pair of something and then three of a kind together. That's a full house, right? But if they're all the same suit, that's not possible in an actual deck. But in this game, it is. So they account for that, and that's the thing you can get. So you're getting like just broken fucking hands because you're just like, yeah, it doesn't matter what I play as long as it's all hearts. I'm always going to get a flush, and anything on top of that is fucking cake, right? That's even more. And it was broken. Like but then Julian, I got to the last boss and I wasn't paying attention to what their ability was. And there's like what they call boss blinds in this, and they'll all have like a certain power. Like, okay, you'll get to one and it's like, okay, every face card that you get will be dealt face down to you, so you won't know what it is. So like a king, a queen, a jack, those all get dealt face down to you, and you won't know what cards they are. So if you're going to play those, you're just going to hope that you get it right. And it's like, oh, that's pretty risky, and that sucks. That's hard. So the one I got to in that run was like, hey, all your hearts don't count for points. And I was like, oh, I lose. I just lose. I can't do anything. I built the whole deck around that. It was like, oh, that sucks. That was like a deflating beat. That was deflating. Yeah. But at the same time, and then I thought back on it. I was like, they did offer me that power to where I could re-roll the boss blind. And I didn't take it because I was like, I don't need that shit. This deck's really good, and I need the money to keep building it. And I was like, if I would have got that, it's on me.
I'm trying to think because didn't both Slay the Spire and Inscription have like certain things where it was like it was almost geared towards, we know you're going to build towards this type of deck, and so we're going to put in a provision where it's like now. You know, a good chunk of this strategy is now invalidated.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And this one does that same thing. Yeah, it absolutely does. And when you get to it, you're like, "Ooh, that hurt. That hurt a little bit." It always happens. Slay the Spire is the same way.
It's almost like I'm a game publisher that put all of my eggs into this one basket, and now it's not working, and I don't have any other strategies, and I'm just gonna like cancel all of my projects.
Yeah, it's kind of like that, but not really. Not really. This is more fun.
Yes,
but no, man, really good game. I addicting as shit. Like if you like deck building stuff, like even and I can't stress this enough. If you don't know poker hands, like I think you'll be okay because, like I said, they have a little menu that they show you how to get to it because I think they kind of know that not everybody knows that stuff. If you know it, then you don't even have to think about it. I know poker pretty well. I've enjoyed some poker in my time and won against some people that are bad at math. This is how it works sometimes. I'm also bad at math, but I'm better than they are at it. Anyway, you should be okay at that stuff. It's a really fun game. You can, I mean, there's even more stuff. There was, I got a card, Julian, that was like, hey, every time, if you only play, you don't have to play 5 cards every time. Like in most poker, you have to play 5 cards. You don't have to play that in this one. You can play 1 card and that's it. That's your hand, and it'll score it on that. And this one, I had a Joker card that was like, hey, if you play 1 card and the first hand, we will make a copy of the card that goes into your deck permanently. And I was like, oh, what if I just kept cloning aces and then try to get rid of every other card in the deck? and it was slowly starting to work, and then something, happened and it didn't work out.
Yeah.
But like, it was still like a fun strategy to like shoot for it. Like it was, that game's really something. I was like, wow, this is really impressive actually. And if we weren't doing this podcast, I'd be playing it right now.
You have a ballpark of how much you've sunk into it so far?
I just bought it yesterday, Julian. So
okay,
let me tell you.
30 hours.
No, 9 hours.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really good game. It's a good game.
I'm listening to This Is Video Games when you were still like, on medical leave. So,
yes.
Back then, you were just like playing it all hours of the day.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. That Justin will just sit there and play video games all day. I mean, the weekend is tomorrow, so I might be on this shit some more because I'm very much in, and I keep unlocking like new Joker cards and stuff like that. That I'm like, ooh, that might be fun sometime, and like there's different decks. All they are, it's so funny because it's just playing cards, so they're just like now there's a green deck. And this one, it has this power, and you're like, that's the stupidest thing ever. I want to play with that green deck. That sounds really good. I'm going to try that. What a good idea. Again, I can't stress it enough. I'm just like, looking at it, I'm like, if you go look at the game, go look at Balatro and just go, what the fuck is this? Seriously? This is the idea? And then you start playing, you're like, oh, I get it. This is pretty good. This is a good game. Yeah, Balatro. I'm pretty high on it, Julian. It's a good game.
Awesome. Yeah, I feel that I want to say that maybe Gerstmann talked about it on his show.
Yeah,
but I tend to tune out of his show pretty easily.
Yeah, you'll have that.
I'm listening during work, and then also it's just a one-man show.
Yeah.
So, as we've discussed with each other, like Jeff Gerstmann needs someone to play off of because he can tend to just like ramble when he's just by himself. So, but I want to say that's where I heard the name, but did not clue in on what it was because I somehow zoned out for like the entirety. of him talking about it.
It's I haven't listened to many podcasts for a little while now. I really got to get back on that. But like, I this is one I went into completely blind, and I was like, wow, this is something. This is, I can see why this has been on the front page of Steam for like a couple weeks or whatever it's been now.
Right.
Like I'm like, I get it.
Yeah.
I'm here for it. Like I went and read reviews, and I was like, somebody tell me what this is, and every single one of them is just like, I can't stop playing this. And I'm like, okay, there's something here.
The reason why I asked about the Vampire Survivors thing is because I'm just getting that vibe of like really simple idea that's probably done by one person or a very small team.
Yeah, that
somehow just works, even though it doesn't. It sounds bonkers, but then becomes like one of the biggest things of the year.
It's neat as shit.
Yeah.
The what it reminds me more of is it reminds me more of Slay the Spire, which I think I actually might have played a little bit over hiatus. I don't remember. I know I played that really recently, and had a good time with it. I was like, oh yeah, Slay the Spire is still a really good game. But yeah, it reminds me a lot of like that, like just that, like, no, I can do it. I can do it better this time. I know what I'm doing this time. Like and then you go in and you're like, oh, it's completely different this time. Fuck. But at the same time, you're like, oh, but what if I did this thing? Oh yeah, all right, yeah, this is working. And then sometimes you're just like, yeah, it's at the end of the day, it's still cards though, so there is that luck aspect every now and then. And sometimes you're just like, yeah, it's just not happening. I needed this and I can't get to it, and that's just how it is.
Right.
But yeah, that's. It's something, man. It works. Balatro, go fucking try that shit if you have a curiosity for it. Pretty good.
Justin,
Yeah.
just listen to that applause. Like the audience seems to be digging it. Like,
Okay.
I'm pretty happy with the response so far.
Okay.
And on that, the ratings came in.
Oh, okay.
So I thought we would address that before we move on.
Okay.
First rating for the show ever. This comes to us from 92 Supersonics. And the title is With Pants, Without Pants, Either Way. And the review reads as thus. Great show, must listen.
Okay. It's good.
I happen to know for a fact that is friend of the show and award-winning horror author Rob Otone.
Oh.
You know,
Yeah.
clearly gets paid by the word now.
Right.
So, you know, he had to be brief.
It was 92 Supersonic, so I thought maybe it was Dead Life Shrimp. So I'm a little disappointed, but that's okay.
Yeah. One day, Justin.
He'll listen to us.
He
we'll
will.
make it happen. You know,
Yeah.
we'll call him.
I know
up.
we will.
We'll get his number somehow. We'll stalk him outside of his house. It'll be okay.
Yes. Next review comes to us from Kitus1303. Title is Great Talent, Great Time. And reads, a ton of talent that has been making great podcasts for years, giving birth to a fantastic new show. Give them a try, love them, and then spread the love.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
I'm assuming that is our friend Xavier Krager.
It probably is. Yeah.
It probably is. Or a doppelganger.
Yeah.
You don't ever know.
Hold on. I have a sound drop for this. Hold on. Yeah.
Yep.
We don't know. Who can it be?
It's a secret to everybody.
No idea.
Yes. All right. We have more reviews, but we'll save those for another episode.
Oh, okay.
And I will say, at this point, like, rating and reviewing the show helps a lot. Like, that is definitely a thing. And if you rate, rating definitely helps. Reviewing even more so. And if you write a review, we will read it on the show. And thank you profusely. So thank you for that. As far as what I have been doing, I'm not going to lie, I have been deep in the Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth trenches.
I figured as much, yeah.
Since that game came out. Like, to the point that there have been things that came out that I want to take a look at, like Silent Hill, the short message I downloaded and have not touched, even though I know it's only like 2 hours long, but I'm like, but that's 2 hours that I could spend on
hold on,
Like a Dragon.
Before you continue, I watched that game. Oh.
I need to know for myself, Justin.
Yeah. I mean, you might need to. Yeah. I'm not confident in Silent Hill's future. Oh, boy.
Oh, I'm not either.
Yeah.
But I still need to see it. Like, I will say that, like, the trailer, like, when they showed it at that Sony State of Play, I was like, all right, I'm in. Like, this looks like something that's up my alley.
Yeah. It's
so.
Oh man, I'm sure it's been said by other people that know Silent Hill more than I do, but man, it can't be stressed enough. I'm pretty sure Silent Hill 2 was so good that it just ruined the entire franchise. Everybody just tries to do it, and I'm just like, oh my god, you guys gotta stop.
Hey, cut Silent Hill 3 some slack. Like
no. Silent Hill 3 is great. Don't get me wrong.
Not as good as 2.
No. Let me explain a little bit. Silent Hill 2, Silent Hill 1, 2, and 3 are amazing games. 4, it does its thing. I'm pretty unfamiliar with 4 for the most part, but
wasn't intended to be a Silent Hill from the start.
Yeah.
And that says that it shows once you know that. Right?
It pulls some things off that are interesting and so on and so forth. But 3 is good because it continues on the story from 1, and it ties up a lot of that stuff. But 2, like, they went for a thing and they nailed it, and just it became a thing, and people loved it, and they love it almost too much that they keep trying to do it, but they're really bad at it. It's like, okay, the biggest problem in that game is, like, they can't help but tell you what's going on in it. Like, which is part of what made Silent Hill 2 great, is like, a lot of the game you're just going, what is happening here? Like that's kind of what makes it good. But like, they're like, I'm sitting like short message. I'm sitting there watching, and I'm going, "Oh, it's this." Yeah. I was right. And you can't help but sit here and point at it you're just like, but look, this is what we're doing. And I'm like, stop. Oh, it's a mess.
Like, I remember that. I know you and I have had discussions about like Homecoming versus Downpour.
Yes, absolutely.
And at this point, I don't remember a lot of Downpour, but one of the things that I do remember is that I remember large parts of that game being like, look, it's a metaphor. Do you see the metaphor? This is a metaphor for a thing.
Oh yeah, it's been a problem for a long time, man. And it's like I said, people loved Silent Hill 2, and they all want to do it, but they're all really bad at it. And it's like, man,
Pat from Castle Super Beast made a really good point when he was watching the new trailer for Silent Hill 2.
Yes,
which I don't think it looks terrible. Like, I think cutting a combat trailer for Silent Hill 2 is just the wrong move, and apparently that was Konami's move to do. But there is a part where James walks up to a wall, and written on that wall is "Reap what you sow." And Pat was like, "That was the moment when I knew that this thing was fucked." Yeah, because it's like, you don't like literally writing it on the wall for Silent Hill 2, which is a game about subtlety. They've lost the plot, right? Like they don't understand what makes that game genius.
And I feel like everybody making these Silent Hill games is having that same issue where they can't quite figure out what made that work, and it's tough though.
And go ahead.
It's tough though, because like part of it's like the fan base like knows kind of what's going on and what the deal is, and it's hard to like swerve in a new direction with that stuff because there's Silent Hill's a mess. I don't know where you go with it or what you do.
And that's kind of what I was getting at, right? Is because like I was about to say, well, at least we're getting OD right from Kojima,
right?
But you and I love Kojima. I probably love him a little bit more than you do.
Yeah.
But let's be fair, right? And let's call a spade a spade. With Kojima's proclivity for wanting to explain things, I don't know if Silent Hills or OD will be able to do that.
Here's the thing about that. I've been thinking about that, actually. This is kind of a fascinating thing. Well, maybe it's not.
I'm glad I brought up the short message.
Yeah. I'm glad you did too, because I was just like, oh man, instantly that made me think of some stuff. I was thinking about that. I was like, man, why? Like, PT worked though. PT was really interesting and cool. And I'm like, I think for Silent Hill to work, you almost have to give it to somebody who doesn't give a shit about it. Like, I'm not saying Kojima doesn't care about Silent Hill or anything, or didn't care about it or anything, but Kojima is Kojima. He's never been involved. Yeah, he was never into that stuff. Kojima is just like, I just want to make a horror game. I don't like. It's just called Silent Hill. Like, sure, I'll maybe borrow a thing here or there from it, and know what it is. But I'm gonna do my own fucking thing. Like, I don't like. You need somebody fucking like who isn't a fan of it, kind of, to make one of these for it to work.
I feel like you would not have seen a Pyramid Head or a nurse like in Silent Hills.
Yeah, no,
right?
No, you absolutely probably wouldn't have, because they were like, no, I'm gonna make my own horror thing. That's what I want. Like, you need that guy. You need somebody like that to take that over, and then that's why that worked, because Kojima was just like, I'm just gonna do my own thing. And yes, he does have a proclivity of over-explaining things. Don't let me get it wrong. But at the same time, like, Silent Hill 2 does eventually come out and tell you, hey, this is what's going on, for the most part. It waits till the end a lot for the most of it. But it does have that moment where it's like, this is what's happening. And you're like, oh, wow, that's awesome. And you have that whole like revelation of like, oh, and you go back and you play it again and you're like, oh my God, it's right there. Like, how did I not? That's part of what makes it good.
But I'm keep in mind, I have not played it to its completion since 2001.
Right.
But my memory is that there are things in there that are still not expressly like spelled out for you, that you just have to infer.
Like, you're absolutely right. Yes.
I'm thinking about it was Sarah, like the black haired girl with the knife.
Yes,
like
yes.
Isn't all of her stuff like very much like you have to infer from like
there's a
the
lot
monster
going,
that you fight?
Yes, there's a lot of the monster is basically a bed. Like
yes,
there's a lot of
with someone strapped to it.
Yes, with someone strapped to it. Yes, it's fucked up. Like there's
and she does like, you know, in her last like monologue to you, like she kind of goes into a little bit of it. But I don't remember her like explicitly saying, "Yo, my dad like sexually assaulted me."
Right. Yes. No.
You just have to figure that out.
It's there if you look for it, right? You know, like there was a lot of stuff like that, and I'm not saying Kojima would have nailed all of that.
Right.
You know,
we'll see what he does with OD.
We'll see what he does. Like I'm very.
But
curious.
I do wonder about that. And it's funny too because I've heard a lot of people recently, obviously, because there was a trailer for Death Stranding 2 that came out, and I was like, I'm so in, like I loved everything that I saw, but like, and I was watching like a lot of people's reactions to it because I was just curious, right? Because like, I feel that like opinion on Death Stranding 2 or sorry, of Death Stranding has warmed in the years since by a lot of people, but almost all of them were talking about just how like confusing his games are and how they don't understand this or that, and I'm like, they're literally tells
they're
you
not
everything.
Yeah, they're they're
he tells
really
you multiple times.
Yeah. Sometimes to an annoying amount.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, no, I got it, Kojima. I got it.
No, I get it, man. I get it. Yeah. Oh boy. Yeah. No, it's absolutely. But yeah, it's Silent Hill 2 was so good it ruined Silent Hill. I just have that, like. No,
you're not wrong.
Yeah. Silent Hill 3, I'm pretty sure that was probably planned, for a while. And, they knew where they were going to go with that story and all that stuff. Is probably a lot of the same team and all that good shit. Silent Hill 3 is great. But
a lot of it always comes down to that tweet from the creator of Pyramid Head, which is, I fucking hate that I created Pyramid Head, right? Because, and I think it might not necessarily be Silent Hill 2 so much as the movie.
It could be.
Well, I think the movie is the final nail in the coffin, right? Because that is what cemented, we cannot move away from this one moment.
No.
Right? And we're always chasing this high, and we're never going to get there. It's become
the mascot, for sure, of the franchise. It probably always will be. And that does suck, because it's not meant to be that way. But what are you going to do, But yeah, it's depressing. We'll see what happens. Maybe they'll be great. I don't know. Maybe we're all wrong and stupid. Maybe that was only a thing that they put in the trailer just for the fans, because they're like, you get it, but it won't be in the actual game. But I have my doubts because I know who's making it. So
yeah, and even because Bloober Team was like, well, we didn't want them to cut together like a combat trailer, blah, blah, blah. But at the same time, there were shots in that trailer where James is taking on like four enemies at once. And I'm like, that should never happen in Silent Hill 2.
Yeah.
Just full stop.
No. Yeah.
So we'll see. But so haven't checked that out yet. There was like a demo for Unicorn Overlord that came out this week.
Yeah, I've seen that. I'm going to wait for the full thing to come out probably and play it then.
Well, progress carries over, and I am, and I know that I want to play it, but I'm still curious about what it is.
Yeah,
and I kind of want to figure that out so that I can adjust expectations going in.
Is that only on Switch?
No, it's on everything, and the demo's on. Well, not everything. I think it's Switch, PS5, and PC.
Oh, hold on, let's go look that up. I might be interested in that because
it's definitely on PS5.
Okay. I don't think it's on Steam.
Oh, okay. It might just be those two then, or maybe it's PS4 and PS5 and Switch.
Oh, I don't know, but it's not on Steam. I'm looking right now. It is not coming up, which saddens Justin.
Mikey, baby, you're hot right now. You are really you are really popular right now with the audience out there, and we have a great idea for you.
Yeah.
You, because you are popular and we want to get you even to more people, you need to do a cover of the song Tomato Tomato.
Got
That's
it.
gonna be a
I know
huge
I know
hit.
the song, Billy Boy. All right. You press record, and here I go. A 1, a 2, a shoodly-doo. You say tomato, I say tomato. You say tomato, I say tomato.
All right,
Tomato,
cut.
tomato.
Wait, I
What's
think there
up,
seems to be a-
Billy Boy? You
there
got
seems
your
to be a little
knobs
bit-
all mixed up there.
There's a little bit of a
I'm
miscommunication.
smoking 92 cigarettes at once.
No. So I'm trying to push away some of the smoke. No, so it's Tomato Tomato.
Oh,
Tomato.
oh, I get. That's the whole thing of the song. Here I go. Count me in, Billy Boy. Won't happen again. A 1, a 2, a skiddly do. You say tomato, I say tomato. Tomato, tomato, tomato.
Right,
Why are you saying it different than me?
No.
What?
All right. So the first word,
Yes, tomato.
tomato. Second word, tomato.
Tomato. That's what I said.
Tomato.
Tomato.
We're not saying the same thing.
Yes, we are. Hop.
No.
A chew. A doodle.
No. Billy, stop. All right. No. First word.
Yeah.
First word is tomato.
Okay.
Second word is similar, but not entirely the same.
Uh-huh.
It's tomato.
Okay. That's what I'm
It's
saying.
a different
What, is there a
pronunciation.
problem? I
It's
feel like
tomato.
we're just talking about the
I
song.
need you to
Bonding
say
over
this
how
for me.
much we love this song. Where we
need
are
you
saying
to say this
tomato a
for me.
million times. That's what people love about it. Oh, the next verse is even better. They just say potato over and over again.
We're not talking about potatoes here. We're talking about tomatoes and tomatoes.
You don't know the song. That's the second verse. Let me do it for you. Hop, a chew, a diddly-doo. You say potato, I say potato. You say potato, everyone potato. Potato,
All right.
potato. What
So
is the song about?
We're having a similar issue. I don't think we need to get to this
Don't
verse.
you stim me.
If you can't figure out the first verse, there's no point going
All
to
right,
the second
let's
verse.
focus on it. What's the problem?
So again, it's the pronunciation. You got the first part down pretty much 100%.
You know what it
Tomato.
is? I sing
Tomato.
with a lot of Italian guys. Maybe I'm saying it the way they say it. From the
Well,
native country
I know
of
I know a lot
tomato.
of the same guys, and
They eat a lot of tomatoes there. Comes from China, the tomato. Historical inaccuracy. Okay, here we go. A 1, a 2, a doodly-doo. You say tomato, I say tomato. You say tomato, I
right,
say
cut,
tomato.
cut. Now-
What's
now-
up? Billy
now
boy, we're doing great here.
We've achieved an interesting situation here. Now,
Uh-huh.
now you seem to finally understand the other half of the problem from before.
Bill,
Now,
you're really starting to push my buttons.
well,
Tomato. You say
this
the
is my
first one. All right. Listen, I just need another 94 cigarettes.
This
I'm
is my
hot.
this is my studio. This is my studio. I push the buttons. You do the singing. My buttons, your voice.
All right.
Got it?
Explain it to me quick.
All right, cool. So, tomato, that was the part that I needed you to, that was the part you're doing great.
And the next one is tomato.
Now somehow, finally, that has gotten through to you, and you're saying tomato. But
I'm
you need
not
to say
hearing a difference.
both. You need to say both.
To me, tomato and tomato, am I doing it right? They sound the same. It might as well be like there should be an expression. Tomato, it's all the same to me, so I don't know whether I'm singing it correctly.
That is part of the heart of the song. Yeah.
Well, it's still true. Let me try again. 1, a 2. You say potato, I say potato. You say potato, I say potato. Potato, 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 potato.
I've been playing just a shit ton of Like a Dragon Infinite
Yes.
Wealth. And I have a lot to say, and I have a lot of thoughts. And honestly, like, it bums me out that you haven't played it yet, because a lot of it, like, I need to bounce things, or I want to bounce things off of you on it. But I'll just say this right off the rip. Much like 2023 with Octopath Traveler 2, it's going to be hard for me to envision a scenario where this does not end up at the top or near the top of my Game of the Year list.
All right, yeah.
And it's only the beginning. We're only in February.
Hell yeah. That's a good sign.
March when this comes out.
Right on.
Because damn, dude, it's great to have Ichiban back.
Yes.
Right? Like, in the first 10 minutes I was just reminded, like, man, I love you.
Yeah.
Like, you were just such a good dude.
Right.
You know, I talk about on the Game of the Year episode about how I love the lovable himbo as a character, and I want more in video games. And I forgot that Ichiban is 100% a lovable himbo.
Yeah, he is.
He's just fantastic.
He's good.
Like, and it's funny because like there's a guy that I follow or that I'm mutuals with on Twitter, and he's not a big fan of the series. He's played a couple of them. He had actually just mopped up Yakuza Like a Dragon to get ready for, or he played that one. He finished that one. He played Like a Dragon Gaiden, and then this one. He hadn't really played anything else of the series, right? And he started Infinite Wealth, and I saw him tweeting, and he was complaining about how slow the game is in the first couple hours, and I was like, dude, I don't know what to tell you, because like I thought the first couple hours were magical. And something, as I was playing Like a Dragon Gaiden, which we haven't really talked about at all. And this game has solidified my opinion.
Yeah.
This franchise, Yakuza / Like a Dragon, is about life.
Okay.
There is no other game franchise where you see a character go from his 20s to his late 50s, right? But it's not just about that character. It's also about the people that you meet along the way. Those relationships, you know, some of them go away, right? People leave, right? People die, right? You go elsewhere. Sometimes they come back into your life. Sometimes they don't, right? But it's just about life.
Yeah.
And I think there's something very beautiful and powerful about that. And the opening couple hours of Infinite Wealth is so much just about life.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it is very much like, look, Ichiban is working. He's got a day job. Like, Nanba and Adachi have new jobs, right?
Right.
They still all hang out. Like that's one of my favorite things about this game, is that it is very clear that they did not go their separate ways after the last game.
Yeah, that's
they
cool.
hang out on the regular. They are best friends.
Right.
Ichiban finally asks Psycho out without spoiling anything, but he goes on his first date, because you have to remember that Ichiban like went away for 18 years. Dude has not lived. Right.
Yeah.
Like he missed out on so much of his life, and he's in his, you know, mid 40s now, and he's still trying to learn shit.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that makes me like resonate with this character so much.
Right.
Because, you know, for me personally, right, like because of my religious upbringing and stuff like that, I spent a lot of my life not living.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm trying to catch up, and I'm in my 40s, and I'm not, you know, I'm not great at it.
Right.
And Ichiban is not great at
Yeah.
it. And it's so good. Once again, right, like this game handles that wonderful line of being super wacky but super earnest and sincere, telling a really interesting, heartwarming story that's also a really good crime drama, right? But still very silly. And honestly, I was thinking about this when I was playing Like a Dragon Gaiden. I want this franchise to get sillier, Justin.
Yeah.
There are places where I think that they can do that, and it'll still be this series, right? So in Like a Dragon Gaiden, you're playing as Kiryu, and he is like basically like an undercover spy, and he's always wearing these like sunglasses,
right?
And like everybody recognizes him as soon as they see him, and I was like, man, it would have been really funny if nobody recognized him until the glasses came off.
Yeah,
like. That would have been fucking hilarious, and they totally could have pulled it off. Because nobody, like, even though people recognize him, they're not actually sure until he takes the glasses off. Because they'll say straight up, you need to take the glasses off so I can confirm. Right. So there's that, and then I thought there was a big missed opportunity at the end of Like a Dragon Gaiden, because I thought that it was going to, like towards the end, you were going to fight Ichiban, but see that fight from the other side, from Yakuza Like a Dragon, and I was like, yo, it would be hilarious if you start that fight and Ichiban is just standing there because he's in turn-based mode.
Right.
And so like you're just wailing on him, and then all of a sudden he does like a big attack, right? And because you're seeing it from his point of view, right? Because even in that fight, like when it ends, like he pictures Kiryu as like an actual dragon, that like attacks him and beats him, and when he wakes up he's like, where's the dragon? And they're like, what are you talking about? Right. But even further than that, so like in Gaiden, there's a part where you're doing like an underground fighting thing, and you know they have like their own characters and stuff like that, and I was like, there should be someone from Virtua Fighter in here just because
That would have been good. Yeah, that would have been fun.
I know the concept of shared universes is kind of like,
Yeah.
people don't want to touch it because of the MCU and stuff like that, but Sega, like with Yakuza,
Yeah.
and this series, like there's shit that you could do that would be so fucking fun.
At the same time, they may have kind of dropped the ball on that because they put all the arcade games in there, and it kind of would get
fair.
Yeah. It would kind of get murky in that aspect.
Yeah.
That
like,
would be the only
I would
thing.
like to run into Rio from Shenmue, right? Or
that would be now that you could make happen. That would be fun.
Yeah.
That could definitely happen.
And I know that I said it on an episode of Nerds Without Pants, but like, what if there was a side story where you have to help out Ryuji from Persona, right?
Okay.
Like, you don't necessarily have to touch like the Persona aspect of his character.
Right.
You just have to help out this punk kid, right? That's in a jam, but it's Ryuji, right? Like,
yeah, you can do it.
I would love that shit, dude.
Yeah, that would be cool.
And I had forgotten about this in the last game, but they explain that only Ichiban is seeing these characters or these people that they fight on the street as like these weird people, right? Like he's, and then like later on, like the narrative splits. I'm not going to spoil the game, but there's certain things that are kind of obvious, right?
Yeah.
And at a certain point, like Kiryu and Ichiban are kind of doing their own thing.
Okay.
And so when you have Kiryu as your leader for the first time, you have your first fight, and he's like, "Whoa, what's going on? This is like what Ichiban was talking about." And they say that like it's kind of contagious, and it's like, I don't need you guys to explain it. I'm fine with it just being like, yo, like there's some weirdos in town, and like they're just, like you don't have to explain it. It's just it's like a dragon, right?
Yeah,
it's weird.
It's fine. Yeah.
Combat wise, it fixes everything that we had problems with.
That's good.
In the first game. Like now you can actually position yourself to do the cool things that you thought you should be able to do.
Yeah.
In the last game, so like you can maneuver yourself next to a bike to pick it up and attack a dude, or you can line up like an attack that hits multiple dudes. Like it's like, oh, this is only going to hit one guy, but if I move over to the right, I can get 3 of them with this attack, right?
Right.
Stuff like that. They added tag team moves, which I don't think they had last time. Combo attacks, which I don't remember being in there. They might have. I'm realizing that I don't remember a lot.
It's been a while. Yeah, I don't remember.
Because I do dimly remember that there were like social links in Yakuza Like a Dragon, but I don't think that I actually tried to max them out. Where here I very much am, because I just want all the character stuff. It's so good.
A lot of the social link stuff that it was like you had to go to stores and stuff like that and do all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And some of them were a bit more of a pain in the ass to get than other ones were, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, here a lot of it is like walking around, and they do indicate them on the map, which is very helpful.
That's
so
nice.
There's been times when I'm I'm like, oh, I'm just going to go clean up this part of the map, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to go get all of these social link conversations and all of this stuff, pick up these sub stories.
Yeah.
I'm loving the dub. I really want to see what you think about Kiryu's voice.
Okay.
Because again, it is very, it's been very controversial. A lot of people hate it. I don't hate it. I think he's fine. There are some times when he'll deliver a line and I'm like, yo, that was a really good line read.
Yeah.
But it is very clear that he is not a voice actor by trade, where everybody else are capital V voice actors.
Yeah.
Right. And so there he really doesn't stack up. And it's a little bit of a shame. The other thing, I reached out to Moses, the well-read mage, on Twitter, because he's a Hawaiian native.
Yeah.
And I was like, I DM'd him, I was like, hey, can I ask you some questions about Hawaii? Because I'm playing Infinite Wealth right now, and I'm curious about stuff. He's like, oh yeah, fire away. Because my thing was that I was hoping with Ichiban being in America that they would really play with that.
Yeah.
Like him like struggling with like understanding what's going on and conversing and stuff like that. But other than a couple really early things with the cops, he doesn't have any problems like getting around. But I was asking Moses, he was like, oh no, Hawaii is Japan 2.0.
Okay. Yeah.
Besides, like, how many, like, Japanese immigrants have settled over the years and had, like, generations, grow up there.
Right.
It's also such a huge Japanese tourist spot.
Yeah.
That, people learn Japanese because, it's a good thing to know.
It's a good thing right. Yeah.
Oh, and I was like, okay, yeah, that actually makes some sense.
I kind of figured that's why they aimed for Hawaii in that aspect.
Yes.
Because I don't know a lot about Hawaii at all, but I know that it's very close to there. So, like,
yes.
I imagine, so that makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense.
It does. And, and it is kind of cool to see, like, okay, these are, like, Japanese businesses, but, like, they're leaning into the Japaneseness because they're also in America, right?
Right.
So, like, because they're getting the American tourists plus the Japanese tourists who are like, oh, a little slice of home. But then they are, when they do have, like, Hawaiian natives, it's very clear that they're acted by Hawaiian natives, which is very cool to hear, right?
Yeah.
Like, they have the accent and stuff like that. My only small, well, I've got little gripes here and there. One of the things that I was a little disappointed in is that I think for, like, new party members, this game needs like a good old boy who's like, I was thinking, like, what if it was like a Texas tech bro or something, who's like in Hawaii on vacation and he hooks up with the party. So, like, so there's a little bit of a language barrier there.
Yeah.
But then also it's like you're getting, like, him as, like, the outsider type of thing, because, like, the two new party members that you meet in Hawaii, one of them he's a Hawaiian native, but he's of Japanese descent, and then the other one, she's Japanese, but she's in Hawaii for reasons.
Okay.
So it's I don't know. It's like I wish that there was a little bit more of a culture shock going on with the party.
Yeah, I noticed that when I played the demo, because I believe those two characters were in your party. Like, it was Ichiban, Kiryu, and then those two. I'm pretty sure the girl and the other dude. Yeah, because I was like, I don't know who either of these guys are. So yeah, I figured they were new. Yeah, I have had one thing spoiled on accident. Because I have stayed as blind as I possibly can on this game, because and normally I don't care about spoilers, and I didn't care about this particular spoiler. I was actually pretty happy about it. I won't say what it is. I seen it on Reddit, but I was like, oh, I can't wait for that. That's going to be good. It was just like a party member, and I was like, oh yeah, that's
oh no, yes,
yeah, huh?
I'm glad. Okay,
yeah. That was spoiled for me, and I was like, no, I'm good with that. That's good. I'm glad they're there.
You were gonna be so happy.
Yep.
That shit is so good.
Yeah, I believe it.
Yeah,
I'm happy that they're there.
That character has a crush on another character.
All right.
That is so fantastic.
All right, I'm excited. This is gonna be good.
Yeah. Also, they have one of my favorite lines whenever you go eat, which is, "That is certainly food."
That sounds like them. Yeah, they're my favorite. Oh, I love them so much. They're good.
Yes. I was so hyped. Like, so that was spoiled for me in a review, but I was like, oh, yes. Okay, let's go.
That's why I was like, that would have been a fun surprise, but at the same time, I'm really excited about that. That made me, I was like, oh, I can't wait. Now that's going to be good.
Yes. Now I do have a pretty large complaint about the game.
Mm-hmm.
And so and for this, it's going to be minor spoilers for Like a Dragon Gaiden and Yakuza 6. So if you really don't want anything, I would say skip ahead about 5-10 minutes. But I kind of need to get this off my chest because it's actively bothering me at this point in the game. So, and maybe you have a different recollection of this, Justin.
Okay.
But my takeaway from Yakuza 6 was that Kiryu learned that this, like, shadowy faction was kind of pulling the strings of the Japanese government behind the scenes.
Right.
And that was, like, the big secret.
Yeah.
And so basically he said, hey, I will, because they were going to pay him off, but he was like, no, I will keep your secret. You keep your money, but I will die for you, quote unquote. Like, you can fake my death, and I'll work for you as long as you take care of my kids at the orphanage.
Right. Something like that.
Right. So maybe I'm misremembering what maybe there was a bigger part of the secret than that, but that's what I'm remembering is just the existence of this shadowy organization.
That's pretty much it. I think they
okay.
Yeah.
So then you get to Like a Dragon Gaiden, right? And he's been working for this shadowy organization for years behind the scenes,
whose
right?
name I cannot remember.
He's changed his name, right? Like to the point that like through that entire game, he never refers to himself as Kiryu, right? Like I thought there would be this big like pop off moment where he says like I'm Kazuma Kiryu and I'm the Dragon of Dojima and rips off his tarp.
Oh no, I love that they
never happens.
I love that they didn't do it because they're like, and they just kept with the bit because like everybody's like, shut up, we know who you are, like, and he's like, no, I'm no, I don't know what you're talking about. I kind of enjoy that. Sure,
like, and I get it, right?
Yeah.
And then you get to Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth.
Okay.
And so what? Real quick aside, I think that Yakuza Like a Dragon was the perfect time to retire the Yakuza part of the branding.
Yeah.
Because it literally is like the end of the Yakuza in the storyline of the franchise.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah. And that really was cemented for me with the storyline of Like a Dragon Gaiden, where it's like, oh yeah, like man, it didn't really sink in until now.
Yes,
like, yeah, the
that
Yakuza are done.
Big deal. Yeah. Like
yeah. So and so that really works. So I think that's really cool.
Yeah.
So you get to Like a Dragon, like I said, he's doing his stuff and everything.
Yeah.
But like everybody seems to be aware of who he's working for.
Yeah.
Right? And but he's loyal, right? Like he is maintaining this facade, right? He's working for them. He sticks with them even when he really shouldn't.
Right.
And by this point, because I'm also like, wait, but years have passed, right? And sure enough, like, he does get to see like a video of the kids from the orphanage. Like, yeah, they're like adults now, right? So like at this point, it's like, what do they really have over him? And when you get to Infinite Wealth, he's still working for them, but it seems like it's just a known thing at this point. Like everybody knows about this faction, right? Like anybody that you talk to or that you encounter knows what's going on, right?
Yeah.
And there's also other aspects of what's going on with Kiryu in this particular game where it's like, why are you continuing with this ruse, right? And there are times when he will run into people that know who he is. And the exchange is always like, oh, you remind me of someone.
Yeah.
And Kiryu's like, yeah, well, if that someone was here, I bet that they would tell you this. And it's like, at a certain point, it's like, let's just let him have like the emotional moments. Right?
Yeah.
Like there's certain characters that I haven't met yet, but if he does not get to have like a really like heartfelt moment with them, like I'm going to throw my controller.
Yeah.
Because there have been moments like this game, like even though I've only played a handful of these, right?
Yeah.
I've gotten enough of Kiryu's story from those games where it's like, shit, man, like that just got me.
Yeah.
I just did a sub story that involved Pocket Race Fighter from 0 and 6.
Yeah.
And I was like, fuck, man, that got me.
Yeah.
I didn't expect that to get me, but that sure got me.
Yeah.
And again, I haven't finished it yet, so maybe it's a bigger payoff. But like, there's certain things where it's like, and again, I feel that like the problem was the way that they ended his or the scenario that he ends up in at the end of 6 is causing problems, from a story perspective moving forward for him.
Yeah.
To me.
Well, it could also be like, I don't know, maybe they just don't explain the entire thing very well. I'm not trying to.
And maybe we're misremembering something about 6.
Like I'm trying to think there, like that. Maybe it's like more like the organization. People seem to know what they are. So I'm guessing my understanding is like they're like the CIA. Like you and I know what the CIA is, but we don't really like know what they're doing. So like maybe what they're doing is like why they had to keep him, because he knows all the stuff that they're doing. So they know that, like, so people may know that, like, yeah, he's working for this CIA type organization, but we don't know why,
Right. And it could be
maybe
something like that.
that.
He he knows where some of the,
He knows where the skeletons are buried.
and
Right,
stuff like
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Man, yeah, I'm really enjoying
Nice.
it. I'm actually almost done with it. I did have to make a concerted effort to be, well, actually, I do want to fit. So, dude, Sujimon battles are really fun.
Sujimon. Okay. I'll keep that in mind. I don't know what it is.
So in last game, like you were collecting data on Sujimon, and I forget what it stands for. It's like
yeah.
I think it's like suspicious, monstrous,
Yes.
or suspicious something monsters, right?
Yeah.
And I mean they're people.
They're just
right?
dudes. Yeah. I remember
But
this.
but the way you refer to them, especially as Pokemon, is so dehumanizing. Like, it's gross in a really funny way.
Yeah.
The text when you're talking about like evolving Sujimon and stuff like that is like, yeah, don't worry about it. Like, and like, dude,
It's great.
when you roll like when you do your gacha tickets to like get new Sujimon,
Yeah.
it cuts to a prison cell with like dudes with like hoods over their faces and like chains around their hands, and they open up the cell door and they walk out, and then you see them unwrapped as what they are.
Nice.
Dude, it is fucked.
That's good. That's awesome. I love it.
It's really good.
Yeah, that's
and like
pretty good.
The actual Sujimon battles is like one of the best Pokemon I've ever played.
Okay, nice. All right.
It's
I'm
real
into
good.
it. That's cool.
It's surprisingly strategic and deep and fun, and there's also like a Sujimon summoner job class
Okay.
that you can get, and
That's fun.
it's based on like your strong Sujimon. So like there's that is one of the brilliant things about this game, Justin.
Yeah.
Everything that you do feeds into a system.
Nice.
And I mentioned this on Twitter, and it's not that I want them to do this, but RGG could make a super successful MMO because they've got it. They've got
Right.
the loop, right? You are getting hit with the feel good button constantly because it like meters are filling all the time. Your social links are going up. Like Ichiban and Kiryu both have separate like stats that they're raising. Those are going up.
Right.
You're leveling your job. You're leveling your base level. You're getting new Sujimon. You're unlocking the Suji decks. Like, there's all sorts of shit popping off all the time.
Yeah.
But it's all benefiting you, right? Like, every little thing that you're doing is just like feeding into making the game, better, right? You're always getting better.
Nice.
And it's brilliant.
Nice.
It's so good.
That's good.
So like I got to like the Animal Crossing thing, and it is really fun, but like I'm not particularly creative with stuff like that. I'm really bad about like decorating and setting things up.
Yeah.
So I'm probably not going to go back to it, although I would like to see more of the story. But I was also like, I need to focus, right?
Yeah.
I need to finish this game because Final Fantasy Rebirth is coming out a week from now.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I would like to have this finished by then, but at the same time, the Sujimon battles are really good.
Sujimon battles are good, Julian. And what are you going to do?
There's also a roguelike in here.
Okay.
There's a roguelike dungeon. Like 2 of them, actually.
Okay. All right. Why not?
Yeah. And then this is, for listeners who are new to the show, but Justin's aware of this. I like to roleplay hard.
Yeah, you do.
When I play games. And sometimes that bites me in the ass.
Yeah.
And so that happens here because the way that you unlock the jobs is fucking brilliant. Like again, it's just like there's so much style to this game.
Yeah.
And it's so fun. But what you do is while you're in Hawaii, you visit a tourist like events planning place.
Okay.
And they're like, oh, we've got these activities and excursions that you can pay for. And so you pay for an excursion and you go out and do this thing with your friends, right? Like, and while you're doing the activity, one of your party members has an epiphany about like what you're doing.
Okay.
And that unlocks a new job.
Yeah.
Right?
That's good.
But those excursions happen during the daytime, Justin.
Uh-huh.
Most of the story when I've been in Hawaii has been happening at night.
Uh-huh.
And I can't have the cognitive disconnect of it's nighttime now, it's daytime now, it's nighttime again. So like I have not unlocked most of the jobs because the story has not presented me with an opportunity to do so that makes sense in my brain.
I see. I understand. Yeah. Yeah. There's always a moment in like in Yakuza where like almost all of them, I would say, where like you reach a point and you're like, now it's time to do everything. And you just, at least for me, where
Right.
I'm just like, okay, now it's time to do everything. And you basically lived like the equivalent of like 2 months worth of shit in like
Right.
a couple hours or in game
Right.
time, you know, like that's basically it. Like you
Yeah.
somehow time travel. Don't worry about it. It just happened.
Yeah.
Um,
And that's the thing is that I try to fight against that as much as possible. So like, good example, right? So I've got Psycho, like her social link is all the way up to 5.
yeah.
But I was like, but I had like, I still had to do the level 4 conversation. So I go talk to her at the bar for a level 4 conversation.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, I can't do the level 5 conversation yet because time hasn't passed. Like, I have to come back later.
Yeah, you got to stop doing that. Yeah, just don't worry about it. It's been 5 days since you walked around the block. It's been 5 days. That's how it works. Don't worry about it. Yeah, that's just how these are. Like, I will go and live like a week in like 5 minutes just talking to one person. Like, that's just how these games flow. And it's always been awkward. And I don't know if there's a great way to make it not weird. It just, like, I don't know what they could do.
There's one thing that they could do that would help a lot, which is you will have a sub story where you have like you do part of this quest, right?
Yeah.
And it ends. But then like immediately, like you will get a text message from that person saying, "Hey, I went and investigated that thing." And it's like, let that happen like, you know, an hour or so in game time later, right? Like,
yeah. At the same,
like space it out.
At the same time, though, that's one of those things that drove me nuts when they did it in Cyberpunk. Because I'm just like,
that's true. But
you know what I mean?
Like, Cyberpunk takes it to a crazy level where it's like multiple in-game days have to pass before something will happen.
I wonder.
Right?
I wonder if they could benefit from just having like a day-night cycle, like just like a time.
I think so. Yeah, I think so.
That might be the way around something like that. I don't think they're super concerned about it because nobody seems to really bring that up.
No, no one. Most people aren't as crazy as I am.
No,
with that type of stuff.
Yeah, and I'm one of those people. Like, I guess that's just been video games for years and years to me. Is just like, yeah, at some point I'm just gonna live like a week of time in 5 minutes, and that's gonna be what happens. Because, yeah, but yeah, but I'm glad it's really good though. Like, that sounds awesome. I might start it up this weekend. I've said that every weekend since it's come out. I swear to God, I might start it up this weekend. This will be the weekend. I swear it's gonna happen. I'll probably boot up Balatro and just play it for fucking hours. Really addicted to that game, Julian. I'm not gonna lie to you. It's really bad.
No, I get it.
Yeah,
I totally get it. But I know that I once you finish it, I really want to do a spoiler cast on it because I've definitely got stuff that I want to say.
I'm very excited to get in there. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
very excited to get in there.
And man, super kudos to the voice cast, right?
Yeah.
Like, you know, sometimes I was like, man, maybe I should have played this one in Japanese simply because of like the interplay between like, you know, like the people who do speak English and the people who speak Japanese. But I've heard actually that some of the Japanese voice acting for people who are speaking English is terrible.
I wouldn't doubt
and
it.
Yeah, and also like there's just like some weird choices with some of the casting. And so like even though like you're missing out on like the classic Kiryu voice in the dub.
Yeah.
Like everybody's so strong, man.
Yeah.
Like that whole like, you know, again, you know, I'm fine with Yang Ye. I wish that I think someone else should have been cast as Kiryu, but like everybody else is just so fantastic, dude.
I imagine the Japanese voice acting version, when it comes to the English thing, they've always had like the same issue where it's like you're catering to your Japanese audience, and like not all of them speak perfect English or whatever, but a lot of them do speak English, so you kind of like you almost like speak a little slower or something so that like the people that are, you know, that know the English can, you know, understand it or whatever. It may not be, you know, it's not what you would expect, but it is kind of how, I mean, that's That's how how like the Resident Evil voice acting happened, like the original game or whatever. Like they kept telling them to slow it down because
they did,
yeah. So I wonder if it's something like that. Hard to say.
It probably is.
Yeah.
And one last thing, because I've done a lot of karaoke in this one, and at first I was like, man, I don't know. Like I kind of wish that they just went with the Japanese voices for the karaoke songs, because these guys, don't sound all that great when they're singing. But then I was like, but this is way more authentic, right?
That's true. Yeah.
Especially because then it's like, but the voice actress who plays Psycho, she can sing, right? It's like, right. Because like sometimes you're going to have someone in your group that can actually do the thing.
Yeah.
Right. But then you have like Ichiban and Kiryu who are like bad.
I don't know. Kiryu is supposed to be good though. He's supposed to be fantastic at singing. So
that is true. I will say though, I forget what song it is, and I think it's a song that Psycho sings.
Okay.
Where he's doing, or no. I think it's another character that I don't want to spoil.
Okay.
That is doing the vocals, but Kiryu's doing the backup.
Yeah.
And the shit that he is saying is so fucking funny, dude.
Okay.
And like, I will say that's one of those line deliveries where the dude nails it, where it's like, this is fantastic.
Nice.
Like,
nice. Hell yeah.
So yeah, I'm so over the moon for it, dude.
Nice.
Like, these games have gotten consistently better with each iteration, right? I thought 6 was fantastic, and I thought 7 was even better than that, and I think this one's better than 7. So
yeah,
it's like, damn, like I'm just so impressed.
Yep. Well, that's good. That's good. I'm glad to hear it.
Yeah.
And now, Video Game Masterpiece Theater, with your host, Thaddeus Whippleshire. Good evening. I am Thaddeus Wimpleshire, and tonight on Video Game Masterpiece Theater, we have the ages-old struggle between good and evil, hero and villain, hunter and monster. Yes, dear friends, it is the classic exchange between the stalwart vampire hunter Richter Belmont and the dastardly vampire lord Dracula. From Castlevania Symphony of the Night, released in 1997 by Konami, feel your spine tingle as these titans square off in a battle of wit and word. In the role of Richter Belmont is none other than the accomplished stage actor Julian Titus. Dracula is given an extra powerful performance by the charismatic Mitchell Mann. And now, Castlevania.
Die, monster. You don't belong in this world.
Oh yeah, it was not by my hand that I am once again given flesh. Oh yeah, I was called here by humans who wish to pay me tribute. That's what I said. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Tribute? You steal men's souls and make them your slaves.
Oh yeah, perhaps the same could be said of all religions. You think about that, huh?
Your words are as empty as your soul. Mankind ill needs a savior such as you.
What is a man? A miserable little pile of secrets. But enough talk. How about you? Yeah.
This has been another installment of Video Game Masterpiece Theater, with your host, Thaddeus Whippleshire.
Now that we've done that, you want to go to space?
I could go to space.
Okay, yeah, let's do it.
Buckle up.
All right, we're there.
Cool.
Yeah, this space is pretty good.
Man, you hear all that talk about, oh, you gotta train for months and you gotta have your physique like this and
yeah,
get ready for the G. Nah, man, like they're just a bunch of wimps. Like that was easy.
You know, yeah, it's pretty much it. You know, it's just you just go, just go. So like, you know, now we're in space. We can talk about anything we want to talk about.
Cool.
Just anything, you know, like I've actually been thinking about a lot of space. Like can anybody like write a song about space anymore and have it be about space, do you think? Or will it always be like, maybe that song's about heroin, actually?
I mean, probably not.
Yeah,
Because
probably not.
I think when people are writing songs about space, they're probably high,
I mean, yeah.
right?
And then
Like that's when you think about space.
might be about, you know, might be about heroin, you know, who knows? Who can say?
Yeah.
Hard to say.
Because I mean, the stars are actually just God's salt,
Right.
and He's going to eat us all.
Are we like French fries? It's pretty intimidating. I don't want to be a French fry. That's kind of scary.
Yeah, it depends on which one, you know, like where you're from, right? Like if I'm a Whataburger, I could be a French fry there.
You think so?
Yeah, we had this discussion before.
Well,
but
yeah, but like, I don't know. Do you think French fries want to get eaten? Like, do they get made and they're just like, yeah, I'm into that. Put me in some teeth and mash me up.
I can't go there. Anytime there's a commercial where they anthropomorphize the food, like I can't. I can't.
But what if
I can't go there?
But what if they're really into it?
That's also weird.
Think so?
Like because then what if it's their kink? Like,
yeah,
you know, I'm not here to kink shame or anything, but it's like I don't, you know, I don't like the idea of like, you know, making a French fry come because I bit into it.
I don't know about that, but
yeah,
you know, I mean, maybe, I don't know. Well, I think we should go back to Earth now because you've gone too far, so we're gonna go back to Earth.
Yeah. I figured I'd make it weird at some point.
Yeah. And we landed. That's good. That's good. That's a good landing.
I feel like I just went to Disney World. That was awesome.
Yeah, it was pretty. We'll go again. We'll go again sometime. You know?
Cool.
Yeah,
Cool.
it'll be good. Yeah. What else are we doing?
Well, you know, I've got one last big thing that I want to talk about,
right.
kind of before we start to close things out.
All
But
right.
before we do that, it is the first episode. Well, it's the first episode, but it's also the first episode of the month. And that means that we should thank our lovely patrons.
Oh, all right. Let's do that.
We thank the executive producers every episode. But for the first episode of the month, we will thank everybody who goes to patreon.com/thestateselect and gives us money, because that makes us happy.
Right.
We appreciate it greatly. Justin, I have the list up for both of us.
I see that.
I thought we could alternate names.
Okay.
This first group of patrons has supported at the executive producer level legacy, which means that they come to us from the Nerds Without Pants days.
Hell yeah.
We have Bookie,
We have Casey Curran.
David Portnov,
We have Xrian. I thought we were going to start with we have every time. That would have been fun. You don't
We
have to
can
do
now.
it. You can't. No, don't do it.
No.
It's over with. No.
We have Philip Becker.
We have Stephen Lobo.
And last but not least, we have Xavier Krager. And then, Justin, next up at the associate producer, Legacy.
We have John Gholson.
And at just associate producer, we have Joel Thoman, who I know that you are from the old days, but if you didn't want to specify, that's fine. But I'll shout you out as an old fan.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. We appreciate
Thank you
it.
all. That's great.
Yeah.
I'm glad you're here.
Me too. Very, very happy. So yes. So one thing that I did since the last time that we spoke like on anything,
Yes.
is a friend of the show, John Gholson, who for new listeners, he is our announcer that you heard at the top of the show.
Right.
I've known him for almost 30 years at this point. Good friends. And he had a spare ticket to AEW.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was Dynamite, and then the taping for Rampage, and then also some ROH matches.
Okay.
And he was like, hey, do you want to go to this? And I was like, I mean, I'll go if you can't find anybody else that really wants to. But Justin, I'm kind of really poisoned on wrestling right now.
I see.
Because I had not paid attention to the Vince shit over at WWE.
Yeah.
Because at first I was like, okay, so right, like I knew he was a piece of shit, right?
Yeah,
so like, you know, he probably pulled a Weinstein, and I'm not saying that that's excusable or anything like that, but I'm like, okay, but it's just the dude, he's gone, so we're fine. Then I looked into like what actually was going down.
Yeah.
and so for people who don't follow wrestling, like Justin and I both really enjoy wrestling and follow it. And so the allegations is that like not only was Vince just like a horrible piece of shit to the women that worked for him, but the the allegation is that like he also kind of served them up as like work bonuses to people who were like in positions of power or, you know, top talent.
Yeah, seems that way.
Once I learned that, I was like, so like everybody's tainted because like I keep thinking like, did you partake?
Right.
You I'm sure you knew about it because you were high enough up to where you definitely heard about it.
Right.
But like, did you partake? And then I'm thinking about like relationships, right? Like I'm thinking about like John Cena and, you know, one of the Bellas and Daniel Bryan and one of the Bellas. And I'm like, were they party favors that then you just hit it off with and then like things worked out? For me, it colors like the whole thing in a really terrible light to the point where it's like, I don't want to watch a movie with The Rock in it. Right. Like I saw the trailer for like Peacemaker for Mortal Kombat 1 came out and I was like, I don't want to watch that.
Yeah.
Right. So it like I'm really like skeeved out about WWE. Right. So like, and that was why I ultimately went to the show. Cause I was like, well, AEW, right? Like different company. But then at the same time, it's like Edge was there.
Yeah.
Billy Gunn was there.
Right.
You know, what's his name? JJ.
Oh, John Moxley's there. There's
right. But Jeff Jarrett. That's it.
Oh yeah,
he was there.
Jeff Jarrett. Yeah.
The Hardy Boys were there. Yeah, and you know, and so here's the thing, right? Is that I'm not the type of person to like judge you or judge anyone that still engages with problematic media.
Yeah.
Right. I was surprised to see that like this came out and nobody seemed to bat an eye. Right. Like my Twitter feed is still so like WrestleMania hype focused.
Right.
Just we're fine. This is fine.
Yeah.
Like let's and. You know, like I don't know,
yeah.
man. I don't know.
I don't know if it's like quite as deep as like what you're implying. I
hope not.
You would hope not, right? But, like, you never know. But like I know like Brock Lesnar was one of the big names that came out with some of that stuff or whatever. And like they've been like they took him out of the video game and they got like they're kind of getting distancing themselves from that guy, which that name doesn't surprise me at all because that guy seems like a fucking psychopath. So I'm like, yeah, okay, all right, I can see that. I feel like it's like obviously it sucks, but like it seems like it's a lot of like the people that you're like, yeah, that guy really did seem scummy, and like it hasn't like it's a lot of people like what's that one guy's name? He was the fucking commissioner, John Laurinaitis or whatever, that guy.
Right. Yeah, he was implicated.
Yeah.
Kevin Dunn.
That's
Pat Patterson.
Right. Stuff like that. Yeah, I could definitely see some of those names being like those seem like people that are higher up and making decisions in there, and it seems like a lot of the like the females involved aren't so much like on air talent. I'm not saying like, no, none of them were, but like, it was like, seemed like, females that they were hiring to do, whatever jobs, but they were doing it for other ulterior motives and shit like that. So, I haven't followed the story super close. I haven't watched a lot of wrestling recently.
I was going to say, like, you've been pretty disconnected from WWE in particular, but probably even a little bit of AEW.
I've been taking some time off from wrestling because, eventually I will definitely, go back and watch it. But it's been nice to take a break from it for a little bit,
Yeah. And I will say that I still ended up having a really good time because, like, I enjoy the performance art of wrestling, right? And it was also very cool to see, like, a lot of the indie Texas wrestlers that John and I used to go watch at Inspire Pro, who are now part of AEW and ROH, right? So we got to see before the match, or like in one of the dark matches, we saw Lance Archer, who we know as Lance Hoyt, or we knew as Lance Hoyt. We used to watch him all the time at Inspire. Right. We saw Sammy Guevara. We saw Athena in an ROH match. Right. We saw I think there was one other one. I don't remember the name though.
Was Eddie Kingston there? He's my favorite.
He wasn't.
Oh, that's a bummer. No. I love Eddie Kingston. He's my favorite.
The reason why I went was because John's girlfriend is a big Sting fan, and she was supposed to go because it's Sting's farewell tour.
Oh, okay.
But she had a death in the family, and so she couldn't go.
I'm sorry.
And I felt, once he told me that, I felt real bad. But Sting wasn't at that show, so then I didn't feel as bad.
Yeah.
Which was a bummer because I've never seen Sting.
Yeah.
Right? And I guess now I never will.
Yeah.
But John and I were also having fun because like, like Edge wrestles a match, and I was like, yo, John, he was in a PlayStation 1 game, dude.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah,
he was.
And that was kind of a recurring theme. I'm like, because Jeff Hardy was wrestling in a match with Sammy Guevara.
Yeah.
And he actually got knocked out during that fight, like legit.
Ooh,
it was pretty dicey for a bit. And we were watching this, and Jeff's like, he's pulling out the ladders and stuff like that. He was about to do like the senton off the ladder spot, and we were like, no, don't do that. But I was like, John, I remember seeing the Hardy Boys and Lita like 20 years ago, and worrying about their health.
And yeah, you're right.
Yeah. It's
maybe take a break from that.
Yeah.
You've done your part, Jeff. I get it. You don't have to keep doing it. No, I've been saying it for years, Julian. Like, boy. I'm like, oh, man.
I will say that for me, the highlight of the night was actually after Rampage ended.
Okay.
Because it was like a 12-man tag.
Okay, some of those are pretty
fun. I'd never seen that before.
Yeah.
And so I guess Billy Gunn's sons, are in a stable called the
Bullet Club Gold.
No. It was like the something Scissor Club.
Oh, the Bullet Club Gold was the last one I know of, but that must
Bang
be
Bang Scissor Club.
Okay,
that's what they call themselves.
Okay, that's pretty good. I like it. All right.
So his son gets on the mic like after the match is over, and he's like, does a little promo, and he's like, if you're not down with the Bang Bang Scissor Club, we've got 2 words for you. And the 2 words are supposed to be guns up. But everybody, yells out, suck it. Right. And Billy Gunn grabs the mic, and he's like, see, they get it.
Yeah.
And like his, there's like a back and forth, and he's like, what? No, I know you're trying to take away everything that I've done for the last 35 years. Just hold on. And then his son, like, he starts to whisper in Billy Gunn's ear, but he's still on the mic, and he's like, yeah, but could you just ask him to do my thing instead of your thing? At some point, Billy Gunn was like, could you guys just make an old guy happy, and just like tell him, like show him how it's done. And so then like everybody did the suck it thing. And I was like, I told John, I was like, that is a really cool dynamic. I like the idea of the dad still being the wrestler, but the kids are there. Right. Yeah. And they're kind of embarrassed of each other.
Right.
Like,
it's been a fun bit for a while. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah.
And it was enjoyable.
That's
like I said,
I'm
just in a really weird place with wrestling.
Wrestling,
right now.
yeah,
like,
it's weird, man. Like, yeah, it is weird.
Like five or so years from now, once we're like removed from this shit from a good amount of time, like I think I'll be better with it.
You'll have a lot more details and stuff like that.
Yes.
You know,
because there is an element of it where it's like, well, you might have known, but also dude was like in charge of your career, and for a lot of time, like it was the only game in town, right?
Yeah.
So what are you going to do?
I mean,
right?
I had the same thing when like a lot of the Me Too stuff happened too, with a lot of where it came out, where a lot of people that I was a fan of like actually were really terrible and shitty, and I was like, oh, that sucks. Like, yeah, you know, like, so yeah, it happens.
Yeah, it's rough, man.
It is. Some people suck. What are you gonna do?
Yeah.
I mean, Vince McMahon, not a surprise that guy sucked. Like, I'm just, not a surprise Vince McMahon sucked.
I think the surprise was that, I always thought the Vince McMahon character was like, him dialed up, where it was actually him dialed down.
Yeah, maybe.
Apparently.
Yeah, maybe, they were like, that's,
Makes a lot of shit like even grosser, like when you stop to think about it, like the Kiss My Ass Club. And I don't know if you ever saw that segment when he had Trish out there and had her crawl around like a dog.
Oh,
even at the time that was
watched that
awful.
live. Yeah, it was weird.
Yep, me too.
I mean, I wasn't there in the building, but I watched it on TV as it happened, and it was like, Yep. That's wrestling.
That is wrestling.
Yep.
And that's almost a show.
Okay.
Before we get out of here, so I do want to do a thing. I want to call it questions, comments, and concerns.
Okay.
Basically, so our old show was like listener interactive, where we had like a lot of segments where listeners would write in and we would read that stuff.
Yeah.
The Stage Select is a lot more about us putting on a show for you, doing lots of silly bits and jokes, and as you've seen by this point, like you hopefully, as the theme song implies, you expect the unexpected, because there's you never know what's going to happen on these episodes.
Yeah.
I didn't know we were going to space, but that's the thing that happened. That was fun.
Yeah, it was good. We went to space. It was nice.
We went to space.
We'll go back.
But I do want to have, a place where, listeners can reach out to us and either comment on the show or ask us questions about the show or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's where this is. So you can email us. The email address is thestageselectpod@gmail.com. And again, just throw anything in there. Just mark it as a question, comment, or concern, or whatever. It's fine. We'll know what to do with it. First ever email for the Stage Select comes to us from Extrian, who says, "Hello guys, hope all is well. I want to know what some of your favorite rivalries are in media. Sometimes games or movies try to force a rivalry, but it comes off like they're trying too hard. Honestly, I'm having a hard time myself coming up with a really good one, possibly Akechi and the main character in Persona 5. Anyways, I figured I'd ask you guys. So what's your thoughts?"
That was a good one.
I mean, Goku and Vegeta is like a huge one for me.
JoJo and Dio.
Yeah. Not in the cartoons or the movies, but in the comic books, Optimus Prime and Megatron is great.
Yeah.
Because you see how much like respect there has been over the years, and like in the very, very early times, like in like a lot of the comic book canon, they were actually friends.
Yeah.
And so that is actually pretty fast. There's a great, I forget what storyline it is, but the Autobots have Megatron captured and Optimus is interrogating him. And they go on back and forth about all the times they killed each other.
Okay.
And then they're just one-upping each other, right?
Yeah.
And then they kind of stop and they both just go like, heh.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like real good.
Yeah.
But I do think that anime kind of does it better than anywhere.
The Japanese definition of like rivalry is like, it's like almost a different kind of rivalry. It's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Like they do a cool thing. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of anime rivalries that I fucking remember. I'm quite fondly like Ranma
and Ryoga for me is an all-timer.
Yeah. Is that from? That's a
Ranma 1/2.
Ranma 1/2. That's what I thought. Okay. I was trying to think of the name of it. One for me in anime is the Light Yagami and L. from Death Note. Those two
I
are
haven't seen that.
yeah, that Death Note is a really good anime. It's a really dumb concept that should not work at all, and somehow it's like, wow, that's really, really good. But because you have like I would dare say like the prodigy kid who is doing their thing, and it's kind of a bad thing, and the prodigy detective who is trying to find them, and it's like it's this great back and forth of like they both know but they can't prove anything or do anything about it. It's really good. I love that one. Yeah, that's a good one. There's a lot of good ones.
Thinking of a more American one, especially because one of the actors just passed. Rocky and Apollo.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Fantastic, right?
Right.
Very good arc for those characters, and then I like the way that it continues with the Creed movies with his son, with Apollo's son.
Right. Mickey Mouse and Goofy. I don't know. I got nothing else. Trying to think of other rivalries in America. That's kind of tough. Oh, well, yeah. I mean, no. I was gonna say like Wolverine and Sabretooth, I guess. I can always remember that one.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
I've been reading old X-Men. I started with the Chris Claremont run that starts in 77, and I'm now up to 87.
Yeah.
And I was surprised at like how Sabretooth is introduced in the X-Men, because it's kind of weird how it happens. And like him and Wolverine's first meeting is very bizarre too, just the way it's written. To the point where I was like, wait, is this actually their first meeting or not? So I did a little research, and it was.
Yeah.
But apparently the way that Chris Claremont envisioned their relationship was he did want Sabretooth to be Wolverine's actual father.
Yeah.
And that ended up becoming like not canon. But one of the things that he wanted established for their history was that every year on Wolverine's birthday, Sabretooth would come and beat the ever-loving shit out of Wolverine to prove that if he wanted to, he could kill Wolverine. And that he was always better. And he would always leave Wolverine like on the edge of death and then just leave.
Right.
And I was like, that's kind of badass. I wish that they had kept that in the story.
That would have been all right. Yeah.
Yeah.
In the X-Men vein, I think the best rivalry out of that one might be like Professor Xavier and Magneto. Like just the two clashing ideologies behind all of that stuff was always kind of cool to me. Yeah.
That's also been fascinating to see because the Magneto that we know, that evolved over time.
Oh,
and
I'm
actually
sure.
it's during Claremont's run, and apparently I didn't catch this. I guess I was just like putting this on him because of what's happened since like 2000.
Right.
But apparently like Magneto was not canonically Jewish until the first movie came out.
Right.
He was in a concentration camp during the war. But I think the implication was that he was there because they sympathized with the Jews, like his family sympathized with the Jews, or was like trying to help the Jews in some way. But that whole story about him being in the concentration camp and that whole thing, that happens like, a good number of years into Claremont's run, where they start to like humanize Magneto and make him less and less of like, the cartoony, over the top, rule the world type of villain, right? And I'm at the point now where Magneto is actually in charge of the school because Xavier is off world. And that's been very interesting too, because obviously like there's people who don't trust him, and also he's still not sure how he fits into this dynamic. And there's times where he's like, I could just do it this way because it would be easier to just like, break this person. But it's like, but I shouldn't do that. Right. Like, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But no, I think that's a great one.
Yeah.
So thank you, Extreme.
Yes. Thank you.
All right. Well, that is a first episode. That felt good. I hope you guys liked it. Definitely give us feedback.
Yeah.
Feedback helps.
We're working on it. This stuff.
Like I will have our announcer give a call to action like that's just pre-recorded that's in every episode. But for these early episodes, like, it's definitely bears repeating. Best thing that you can do is share the show with friends and get the word out there. you know, I think that we're on to something special here.
Yeah.
And I really want to reach as many ears as possible because I think this is going to be a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun with this one. I've had a lot of fun leading up to this episode, like just coming up with stuff and pre-recording stuff for this episode and future episodes and coming up with more ideas. And
I mean, it occurred to me while I was doing this episode that, I probably should have got a sound effect to land the spaceship, but I didn't. And here we are.
It worked for me.
Okay. Well, you know what? Still room to improve.
Yes. In the meantime, you know, you can find us on the internet. Justin, where can they find you?
You can find me at Tyrone_Swift on Twitter.com, and that's really it. You can. I have other podcasts. You can listen to This Is Video Games. It's still there.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Yeah,
it's one of my favorite shows.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right.
You can find me on Twitter at Julian_Titus. You can find me on Blue Sky, just at Julian Titus. And the Twitter handle for the podcast is at Stage Select Pod. I would have liked the in there, but I couldn't get it. It was too long of a name.
Oh.
So, you know, what are you going to do? Thank you to the wonderful Megan McDuffie for our incredible theme song and music. Thank you to John Gholson for being our announcer and giving us fantastic logo art.
Also, yes.
And thank you to you, the wonderful listeners, for checking us out, enjoying the show, hopefully, and letting us know what you think about it, hopefully.
Especially, yes.
Yes. I know I'm putting a lot of the onus on you there, but look, I'm very insecure, and I could use validation.
We're like PBS. We rely on viewers like you.
That's right. I think I've got that actually in the script for one of the things that I want John to say.
Good.
So, excellent. And quick shout out. I made a work friend who's a big gamer, and he already subscribed to the show. So
nice.
Hey, Kale, hope you liked it. If you get to this part in the show, send me a message and let me know. Like, that was me.
Yeah. Good job.
And we're definitely going to have him on sooner rather than later because he knows his stuff, and he was like he's from like the retail backing also.
Oh,
so,
nice.
You know, got a lot of stuff to say.
Okay.
So that'll be a lot of fun.
Sounds fun.
So that's it. So for myself and Justin, this is The Stage Select signing off. Bye.
Uh-huh.
The Stage Select is copyrighted and owned by Space Monkey Mafia Productions, specializing in independent podcasting. Please consider sharing the show with your friends and support us by joining our Patreon or donating to our coffee. Thank you, and good night.
The Stage Select Pod hold on. Let me
make sure you got the right thing there. You know.
Hold on. This will be an edit.
Hold on. This is where we sing Hall & Oates and wait for you to find things. What Hall & Oates song do we sing here? Hold on. There's good Hall & Oates music.
Oh shit! How do I? Oh, there we go. I'll find it.
Rich girl, and don't matter.
Man, you've had that stuck in your head all night.
Anyway, yeah, I keep singing it. You can rely on the old man's money. You can rely on the old man's money. It's a bitch girl.
Yeah. Okay. I got it.
Okay, you got it.
Right.
All right. Good job. Excellent.